Welcome to the Classy Ring Attire Podcast. I'm Joel.
I'm Chris.
And it's time to get classy.
Let's do this, and with a special guest here.
Hi, I'm Chasity Taylor.
Everybody go, hi, Chasity Taylor.
Hi, Chasity Taylor. We finally get to sit down with you and talk. This was, it seemed like a lot longer than a week. We were trying to make this happen.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been quite a week, for sure.
So what, before we get into the whole wrestling thing, like all the WWE stuff, so what happened?
I had a road trip up north to New York and New Jersey, and everything was fine until we had to make a pit stop in Philadelphia to pick up a friend of ours who was working for Ring of Honor's ring crew, and our excursion just stopped working. Like, going down the road, we heard this big pop, and we just assumed it was a flat tire, so we pull over in Philadelphia, which apparently you don't do. Like, it's not a safe place to pull over.
No.
But we pull over in a really sketchy area.
Of
and
course.
Side note, it's stuck to
I mean, okay, you didn't have to say sketchy area, because as soon as you say Philadelphia, they get the point.
We pull over an area that has gravity.
It's like, it was a really stinky area, and we come to find out that we're in front of, like, the poop factory of... that's what they kept calling it.
So the citizens of Philadelphia?
But we were stuck there, and we were there for like an hour and a half before someone finally came to like our rescue. And, you know, I'm with two guys who don't know a whole lot about cars, and I don't know like enough about cars to fix a car, but I know enough to like lift the hood and pretend to know that I'm looking at it.
To at least look, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like
I do
calling...
the same thing if I run out of gas.
I'm calling people back home. I'm like, hey, the thing beside the little dipstick thing is like not working, like it's making a noise. What do I do?
The engine?
I don't know.
I don't
It's like
know
a little,
either.
yeah, I just make stuff up. And I'm like, yeah, it's a spark plug, whatever. So we ended up getting stuck in Philly for 27 hours and did not.
Yeah.
Our trip that started Friday morning at 7 a.m. did not come to a screeching halt until Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. So it was the longest trip of my life, and it ended in Charlotte. So I was stuck in Charlotte for several days before someone from Greensboro could come pick me up.
But before you got to Charlotte, you also broke down somewhere else, didn't you?
Fayetteville,
Yes.
We had to drop someone off in Fayetteville and had a little car trouble, which was gas, so...
Like, if there was ever a place that was, like, a
Worse than
very
Philly?
close second to being worse than Philly, it would be my glorious hometown of Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord, how did you make it back here alive? Like, you
Tough.
literally could not have broken down in any worse place in the world. Like, maybe, like, downtown Iraq, wherever that is.
Baghdad. Warlord camp. The Warlord Summit.
The Warlord training camp in Baghdad.
Yeah, that's next year's trip.
Okay, alright.
No, but Philly was actually pretty cool because the day we were broke down and the car was at the shop, I got to go see the old ECW arena.
Yeah, you sent me a picture, and I felt like I needed to get a tetanus shot as soon as I looked at it.
Yeah,
It looked so sketchy.
I did not have a Philly cheesesteak, and I did not eat what they call water ice, which we call Italian ice down here. They call water ice, but they say it with like a really awesome accent.
I don't know what any of those are.
Italian ice is like frozen... It's like ice cream with like a slushy.
Is it all ice, water, ice?
That's what I said too. I was like, I don't get it. But, you know, they also don't have sweet tea up there, so I don't fit in anywhere. So I was like, yeah, I'm ready to get back. I kept tweeting all weekend long. I was like, get me back to the South. I haven't heard a single y'all. No one's drinking sweet tea. What the heck is water ice? Like, yeah.
That's ice.
I know.
Water ice is ice.
But you could get like chocolate water ice and peach water ice, and they sell them like, you know how we have hot dog stands? They have water ice stands.
Oh, no.
Your face is saying,
Oh, dear Lord. Like,
No.
get out of Philly.
Stop it.
If you are in Philadelphia right now, get out.
We have water ice here too.
But we
It
call it
sounds like
We
Italian.
just
have-
call it ice.
It sounds like they have milk popsicles. That's what it sounds like.
Milk popsicle.
Oh, that's
but there's no milk. It's water, frozen water with flavor.
Okay, so watered down chocolate. On the chocolate ice water.
I didn't try it.
Oh.
I mean, we have flavored water.
Yes.
Kool-Aid.
Right?
That's not what I was going for, but a solid argument,
And-
yes.
You know, the red popsicles. Some would say fruit punch. But I'm from the ghetto, so we call it red popsicles.
Those are just popsicles.
Yes, the red one.
You don't have any other colors in Fayetteville? There's Only red ones.
The one guy came through with a purple one and he got shot, so no.
You start off with the Star Wars tangent last week, and now we're talking about popsicles.
Welcome to Classic Rings.
Woo!
Or what did you change our Twitter handle to last week? Or CR Star Wars?
CR Star Wars, yeah.
Where we make Star Wars wrestling references?
Yep.
Oh god, that I just still have dreams about the wonderful reference that you made. The whole like, by God, Vader, that hand had a family.
Wish I could laugh.
That's really funny.
I haven't seen Star Wars.
Yet somehow we carry on.
Alright, so
Somehow.
there's wrestling.
Yeah,
Back to
wrestling.
WWE.
Technically, you've seen wrestling, so you're still okay.
If this is a Star Wars podcast, we would be screwed.
Sometimes I question it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so we are fast approaching SummerSlam.
It's not this Sunday, for those of you who thought it was this Sunday.
That was me. I really thought it was this Sunday. I don't know why. And I was...
Because you're so excited to see Cena versus Daniel Bryan.
I actually am.
I am too.
I really...
There was no sarcasm in my
Wait,
voice just then.
I thought there was sarcasm in
No,
my
it's
voice.
excitement.
Okay. Now I know what excitement sounds like.
Yeah.
Sounds like sarcasm.
It sounds like sarcasm. I'm really excited by it. So I don't know. I was just... good thing I didn't really make any jokes on Twitter. It'd be like, there's only 4 matches scheduled for SummerSlam already. Like, of course, because we're still got a week left.
Yeah.
So...
You gotta schedule another 4 next week.
Yeah.
So.
We have a few things we want to talk about, but there's a very interesting phenomenon happened tonight on Raw. That has Joel beaming.
That's tickled his fancy.
It's tickling all over his fancies. And that is, there was not a mention, not a single glimpse, no reference at all to Sheamus tonight on Raw.
Yeah.
Call 1-800-FELLA if you want to hear from him.
Maybe that's what it was. Like maybe
Nobody called?
Nobody called. And it was like, okay, no one needs me. All right.
They have an actual, like, blinky light. Like a Batman phone.
Yeah,
Remember
but it's
the Powder
a really...
Puff Girls, like the little...
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that thing called?
I don't know.
Phone?
No. What was the monkey's name?
Mojo Jojo?
You knew that.
Joel, any reference. No, it doesn't have to be obscure or anything, but he's going to know it.
Yeah, so Sheamus didn't get this little red phone lighting up.
Yes.
It happens.
So
yeah, Joel's really happy right now.
yeah.
We don't have to worry about any Pats writing us ugly comments on our blogs.
No. I mean, you know.
The only guy to actually defend Sheamus.
This guy stood up for Sheamus.
And he
tomorrow.
really, and he even went the route like, I used to like you, Joel, but now I've lost respect for you as a columnist. Like,
Bless his heart.
I know, right?
That's like the guy who likes Heath Slater. And I point my fingers to Joel.
Okay, like I explained earlier, Joel is the one who is most optimistic about everyone.
Back it up. Here's the thing. Heath Slater has completely discovered his role in WWE. And
Which
he
is what?
heel Santino. Santino is face Santino.
You know what? I
And
never
Heath
thought
Slater
about
is
that,
heel
yeah.
I didn't
Santino.
either.
Okay.
That's all he's shooting for now.
Touche.
He doesn't have any full, dreams of usurping John Cena as the face of the company or anything. He's going out. He's heel Santino.
I don't mind it.
That's all he needs to do. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's been worse. I'll admit that, but
And
haven't really known anyone that's very adamant about cheering, or not cheering, but just, oh right, Heath Slater's on my TV. I'm okay with that. Most people are like, oh god, Heath Slater's on my TV.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I'm okay with it, but
Okay.
it's because a lot of people are complaining about Zack Ryder right now because he's kind of backed down and is being pouty pout about it. And Heath Slater's not. Heath Slater is very gung ho.
He knows, yeah.
And is doing the best he can with the material they give him.
That's like The Miz.
Yeah.
I mean, The Miz
Yeah.
has had a push and then not a push, so, I mean, he just kind of takes what he's given. Like, he's the host of SummerSlam this year. I'm sure he'd much rather have a main event at WrestleMania
Or
again.
at least be on the pre-show again.
Right,
Yeah.
but, I mean, I think he seems like he's noble enough to accept that and,
Yeah, I mean, and
make
he's
it
still
work.
willing to do all the press appearances because the guy's an absolute workhorse when it comes to those.
Definitely.
Even like it doesn't matter where he is on the card or where he is in the company, he still is going to do it. So
Yeah.
by all means, I've always admired that.
Is
about
this
his.
the first host since The Rock hosted a pay-per-view?
I believe so.
So The Miz is technically following in The Rock's footsteps?
No, don't say that.
Joel's gonna say it regardless. There's no... The cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
He's gonna be brimming about that for a while.
Yep.
Like, if Miz ever gets another title opportunity, Joel will bring that up, and he'll be the only person to remember that. He's full of that useless knowledge.
You should go on Jeopardy.
I like The Miz.
He's one of the people who actually, he has to watch Jeopardy every day.
I try.
Or, yeah.
I thought you were being serious, like joking, but you were serious.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's... Okay, fine. Side note here. Like, Jeopardy, there's so many questions in, like, half an hour of Jeopardy.
He actually has made his own Jeopardy. Every time we have a party or a gathering, we will play a couple rounds of Jeopardy. And
I like it.
He found like this thing online where he can make his own cards, and you have so many that are just in the archives that we haven't even used yet. We've played a lot of Jeopardy.
I want to come over and play Jeopardy.
You make us sound so cool.
I'm trying to help you here.
No, you're not.
I'm really not.
No, you're not. This guy makes Jeopardy boards for fun.
All of these tangents.
On top of playing Skyrim and only collecting tankards. To the point where you have so many tankards that you can't walk anymore.
Tankards might be valuable someday.
What's a tankard?
It's a
big
You
beer.
both are just
We're just making really bad hand gestures.
gestures, yeah.
Because the handle,
At least I had like a side in the
I
middle.
just had one hand just going up and down. Where
are we? Okay, wrestling. What
Yes.
happened on wrestling?
What did... Okay, Daniel Bryan did the whole corporate makeover
Yeah.
thing, which is just him putting on a suit and putting his hair in a ponytail. And he just, he rejected it all and revealed his new, the beard is here thing.
Yeah.
But he had it was a really good promo, I thought. Like, it felt very much like his version of, the pipe bomb or whatever. Certainly not as biting as a CM Punk one.
Yeah, a lot more. I still have a contract to fill out version of a pipe bomb.
But it was good to see that side of Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And it was good that WWE is kind of taking the reins off a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was I enjoyed it. So.
All right, fair enough. Big thing for me was moving forward on a Triple H Vince power struggle.
Yeah, you seem to be a little bit excited about that.
It's a storyline that is, as I said to you, like, not that I don't have faith in their ability to mess it up, but it's a lot harder to mess up than...
Because it's kind of like a proven staple, almost, that the Vince power struggle with whoever is going to do decent business.
Yeah.
And it's because people like watching, Vince do outrageous things and ultimately bite it at the end.
Yeah. What are your feelings on Vince?
I love Vince McMahon.
Yes.
I really do.
Welcome to the Cool Kids Club.
I'm welcome back in.
Yes.
So we're just going to forget that I haven't seen Star Wars.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
You just keep talking about it.
I'm playing with the little robot.
It's a droid.
I'm playing with the droid.
There you go. And he's got a bad motivator.
Yeah.
Okay. So your thoughts on Vince?
I like Vince. I think that, as a fan, because I try to watch wrestling as a fan, I agree with you. We want to see Vince do something outrageous and then it bite him in the butt in the end.
Yeah.
So I like that. And I think it's believable. Everyone, they tried to keep this whole Stephanie and Triple H thing a secret. They tried to think that the fans didn't know about it. So I think now that, that's out in the open, it's kind of bringing a bit of reality towards the storyline. And I think that's what they're doing with a lot of things right now. It's stuff that the fans have always known, but you're finally telling us, so it kind of puts more... if you tell the fans the truth, they're not going to believe it,
Right.
Which is just how we are. We're all, smart marks, whether we want to believe it or not, or agree to say that we are. But I think, them putting the whole Stephanie, Triple H, and Vince thing, like you said earlier, the Daniel Bryan, quote-unquote, pipe bomb, allowing him the... He said something about, I could get fired tomorrow, and trust me, it's happened before.
Right, yeah. That was a great
We
role,
know that really happened, but for him to say it, you're kind of like, why did he say that?
Yeah.
It leads questions. So I think, Vince is a genius. He knows what he's doing, and I think WWE's finally going into a direction where they're pulling a bigger crowd and a bigger audience because people want to see, well, I knew this was true, but now I'm questioning it. So I like it. I like Vince.
Yeah.
He's good for
Vince
business.
was... was really just a crucial point for me and Joel as wrestling fans, specifically Joel, because Joel originally came back to wrestling whenever Bret Hart came back to WWE and that whole storyline. And so we were just so excited to see Vince. Anytime that music hits and he comes out, we go bananas. Really quick, what is your all-time favorite Vince moment?
Oh, man. I think I'll show my age here because I have really bad, like, I don't have a good memory of wrestling. Like, I'm sure if you told me something that happened, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that. But Vince sliding into the ring at whatever it was, where he, like...
the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
the Royal Rumble, it was when John Cena and Batista both won at the same time or something like that.
Yes.
Both hit the floor at the same time.
Something crazy.
And apparently, I'm guessing that's not what was supposed to happen. Everyone was arguing in the ring, and he comes out, flings his jacket down, doing a very brisk Vince walk, and he slides in head first, and apparently at that point, he completely tears, or just completely messes up both hamstrings, and he gets up, and you can see it on his face.
Yeah,
and
the pain in his face was so real.
And he sits in the corner and yells at everyone while sitting flat on the ring.
And I think that's why I liked it so much, is because everyone has this, like, Vince is like Santa Claus to us. He's got, or, like Jesus, if I can say that. Like, everyone's like, everyone has their own perception of what these people are like. Like Santa Claus is,
kind of a larger-than-life kind of figure.
So in my mind, I think in the back, Vince is probably, a really cool person if you're on his good side, or he could be a really terrible person if you're not on his good side. Yeah. So for him to come out there and still yell at you and tell you that you messed up, yet he's hurt. Could you imagine being in the ring right then? I'd want to laugh, like, you are yelling at me in pain.
I would, at that point, if I was Vince, I would be like, done. No, figure it out. Somebody wheel me back.
Right.
But instead, he kept going. Yeah. Like the professional
he is. The ultimate workhorse.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
For the longest time, that was my favorite Vince moment until Vince rode off on John Laurinaitis' scooter a couple years ago.
I don't remember that. I have a really bad memory, though.
It was in the midst of the whole people power thing. Yeah. And Laurinaitis got beat up by Cena, and he showed up on Raw in a scooter, like a Rascal scooter, with a big People Power logo on the front. And Vince came on, and he kind of, yelled at John Laurinaitis, and he, looked at the scooter as he was walking out, and he was like, all right, and he gets on, and he just one hand on the wheel, the other one, he's, riding a wild bull. And then when he gets up to the stage, he flings it off the side of the stage.
I can't condone that one because Vince was a face at the time.
Oh, yeah, you really don't like face Vince.
I don't like face Vince.
You love it when he's a heel.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant heel, I'll admit it, but that moment, it's so much, when you can tell Vince is having fun, I love it.
Yeah.
The one moment, the last time Raw was in Greensboro, and I like bringing this up because Joel couldn't make it, and it was the one time Vince came out, and it's the only time I've ever seen Vince in person, and I had to text Joel at that moment, you were missing this.
And when was that? What year?
The last time they were in Raw, okay. December of 2012.
I didn't know.
It was the week. It was whenever they were like, "Oh, CM Punk is hurt and he can't wrestle at TLC." Yeah. Vince came out. It was one of those moments where he basically worked Vicky like a puppet. "Oh, you're going to do this, aren't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Yes." Mm-hmm. And at the end, I don't know if cameras caught it, but his music hit. He had the mic in his hand, and he just flung his arm around a little bit, and then just tossed it like a ballerina, and it landed perfectly at where the ring announcers were. Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, oh, it's just so graceful. It's so fun. Yeah. What's your favorite Vince moment?
My favorite Vince moment? Jeez, there's so many.
I know.
Probably Triple H acting like Vince.
Oh, that reminds me of one.
I
the
do
time
like
that DX dumped poop on Shane and Vince.
And the Spirit Squad.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I liked that. I remember that one too now.
Technically Dolph Ziggler.
And Zack Ryder, right?
Was Zack Ryder in the Spirit Squad?
No.
Was he not?
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think the only one who's still employed by the WWE is Dolph Ziggler.
Oh.
And the only other one I can think off the top of my head was Kenny Dykstra.
Oh, I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So that's not Zack Ryder?
No. Zack Ryder and Kenny Dykstra are not the same person.
Now I know.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I pulled the curtain too far.
You're breaking my kayfabe.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was kayfabe. I'm sorry. So we've got that possibly in the future, and I like it as well. Trying to think if there was anything else on Raw that was really like,
not a whole lot big worth talking about. I mean,
Kane kind of inferred that there might be an Inferno match in the future, which is something I really didn't think we would see
ever.
Yeah, because the last one was Kane and MVP.
No,
and that was a while back. And that was like the first real moment where people were like, "Oh, this MVP guy's actually pretty decent." So,
well, I still have the same concerns about the Shield or not the Shield, the Wyatt family,
yeah,
that I had before, which is that they're too vague, and there's not, it's painfully apparent that they started with an idea for a character and they'll write in reasons later.
And see, I like that about him because I think normally our perception of the wrestlers that are on TV are, this is so-and-so, he is this, his music and everything matches this character and this gimmick that he is. And I think the Wyatt family, there's so many questions. And I think that that's what makes them interesting, is we want to know, are they related? What are they? What's his fascination with birds?
What's the end plan on this?
Why does that guy come out wearing an animal mask?
Yeah.
Which scares the crap out of me, by the way.
Really?
I have nightmares about him, and I'm not kidding. Like, I have nightmares about that mask. And it's in a lot of movies now, too. I'm noticing...
Yeah, there's a new movie, I can't remember the name of it, but they showed a trailer for it tonight.
Yes, and it has the mask in it. I don't like that.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, that's so creepy. I love it.
Their entrance, like, freaks. I don't watch it. When their entrance comes on, I nonchalantly check Twitter or, go to the bathroom or something because it worries me.
I love it. Oh,
I get
Lord.
anxious.
I thought that, and I think that's the purpose of it. That's what they're going for, and I love that they're hitting that chord with people. Or it just might be you. It's whatever.
Well, it's working. Props to you, Vince McMahon.
And, but the thing is, there's all those questions. That's really great. And
I think, because I think your thing is, you're more like, you're thinking that they're strange just to be strange.
Well, my thing is, I worry that nobody has the answers to those questions.
Okay.
Those will be questions that they'll fill in on a later date. And they know that it's weird and creepy and people will tune in for these questions, so they'll ask the questions and then we'll figure out answers later. And when that happens, the answer's always Hornswoggle.
Yeah. He's afraid that we're going to get another anonymous GM ending up being Hornswoggle.
I hope not.
No, same here. It's just, I understand that concern, and I'm just hoping that they've got enough figured out already. They know where they're going, where they're going with Kane.
And they know they're doing the Kane thing.
The direction WWE's been in lately, though, with the NXT guys coming up, slowly, more people are getting brought up from NXT. I think that they've probably got a better understanding of what they're doing with the Wyatt family. Mm-hmm. I think they're just finally getting smart with stuff, and they're not just going to tell us everything we need to know.
Right.
Because when you think about it, the reason people get bored with watching wrestling is because it's quote-unquote the same thing each week. Mm-hmm. You don't know what to expect from the Wyatt family. You know they're going to come out and be creepy and scary and, make Chasity have nightmares, but you don't know who they're going to beat up this week, or there's this, this thing with Kane that's going on, but you don't really see it unfolding yet. It's just slowly progressing. So there's so many things that they could do that why should they tell us what they're going to do?
Mm.
It's leaving it up to our imagination.
And that's what, you touched on the NXT thing, because that's what I really like. It's something that these three guys did in NXT that worked there, and instead of these guys are ready to be brought up, but instead of just completely dumping the Wyatt family and starting something completely new, they brought it up as a 3-person unit and put forward basically in the same fashion that they did in NXT. They made some tweaks here and there, especially with the entrance, but I just love, they pretty much figured it out. Like you said, they figured out NXT, and they took what they figured out and put it under a huge microscope on Raw, and I love that.
I do too. I love how they're bringing up new people. I don't get to watch NXT as much as I would like to, but when I do watch it, I always find a new person on there that I'm like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that person.
From what I understand, sometime after SummerSlam, try to watch NXT, because apparently there's a 2 out of 3 falls between Cesaro and Sami Zayn, formerly El Generico. Mm-hmm. Apparently that thing is the most amazing match that anyone has ever seen. They were talking about it the moment they taped it, and that was 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to everyone, if you're listening to this, check out NXT. They said sometime after SummerSlam.
Nice.
So, yeah, Sami Zayn, El Generico is really turning some head, and I'm loving that that's happening.
Yeah.
Finally.
I really hate that he's not under a mask, though.
I do too, but I mean, with his personality, he'll make anything work. I'm sure. But yeah, it would have been funny if they, or it would have been fun to see him.
We'll see.
bring
Like
that.
he worked for a promotion out here in Burlington that I was at, and he kept the mask on in the back. I mean, not as if like we don't know who he is or seen
Right.
him, but the second he got a chance to put it on, he kept it on, and I think that's like an honorable thing nowadays. It's like people don't. My dad's always like, "Oh, back in the day, wrestling was so much more real," and blah 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 blah. And it was. There was a sense of realness that the guys wanted to
More of like
uphold.
living the gimmick kind of thing. Yeah.
And I loved that he did that. I respected that so much. Same with Delirious.
It's not like, oh, it's a funny joke that this Canadian kid is putting on a mask and ha ha ha, and then afterwards taking off the mask, whatever. But yeah, like he's actually, it's part of kind of a joke, I guess. But he's actually, being honorable with the whole, lucha customs and everything.
Yeah.
So that kind of says a lot about him.
Yeah.
So, but I'm okay with him kind of starting something different because everyone knows him as El Generico, and that kind of has its own little box.
Right.
And now he's moving on with something different. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah. He'll go for
It's
it.
a weird name though, the Sami Zayn thing.
Yeah.
And all spelled weird.
It's because I wanted to be Billy Zane, because that's a dude.
Fair enough.
That's what I hear when I hear that name. So.
Billy Zane. Yeah.
So.
I'm always afraid that I'm not going to say the last name right just because of the way it's spelled.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know someone named Zane, so we know how it's supposed to be spelled.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Where to now?
Do Battleground real quick?
Yes, they announced last Monday that we're going to have a new pay-per-view in early October. And I bring this up, and it's called WWE Battleground. I bring this up because we're going to get 2 pay-per-views in October. We're going to get that in early October, and then we're going to get Hell in a Cell around Halloween.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I remember 2011, when we got to the fall, it seemed like it got to the point where it felt like there was a pay-per-view every other week, and in turn we basically get the same card, just with like minor tweaks here and there, and it was just like we got Big Show and Mark Henry week after week. That was, I think, when we got Christian and Orton a lot. Yeah, I might be mistaken on that.
They were in the summer.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. And CM Punk versus whoever Triple H is going against or something like that. Like, it was all squished together, and they were able to avoid that in 2012. They still had the same number of pay-per-views as we were going to get here in 2011.
2013.
Or 2013, you're right, I'm sorry. But it felt a little bit more paced, and I still blame it on that big break we got between WrestleMania and Extreme Rules. Because in 2012, like I've stated before, like, you had WrestleMania, then the next month was Extreme Rules, the next month Over the Limit. This year, it was a 2-month break between WrestleMania and Extreme Rules. And by the time they got to Extreme Rules the year before, we were already at Over the Limit.
Yeah.
So now they're wanting to keep the same number, but now we're going to get this big squish in October. So, I mean, unless they come up with some interesting thing about Battleground, which I don't know what it would be.
I'm gonna go with no.
Probably not, because maybe Payback will have something interesting, and we really didn't.
No,
it was a decent card, but
it's a cool
no big
name,
hook.
I think.
Yeah. It's a name
It's like
that I
Capital
was
Punishment.
Yeah, it was like a name I was surprised they didn't use earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that there is no way out. I know we don't want to have that conversation, kind of like a who's on first thing.
The no way out.
I kept saying like, so there's no way out, and I was like, that sounds like a double negative. So you're telling me there is no way out? Yeah, it's always the door.
It's always the door.
The door that the referee will gladly open for you.
Yeah, personal pet peeve is no way out.
Really?
Any
Why?
cage match.
Well, because No Way Out used to have the Elimination Chamber in it, and it doesn't anymore. Now
it's just
when they do
regular
No
cage.
Way Out, it's just a steel cage match, and there's a way out of a steel cage match, and it's just out over the top or through the door. They open the door for you, so there's totally a way out of a No Way Out match. and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't make sense. I don't watch pay-per-views as often as I used to. Now that I've moved away from home, like, we used to go to JP Looney's and watch them every, month, and there was always a big group watching them, but now it's really hard to find kids my age who watch wrestling. It's not the cool thing to do anymore.
Sad day.
I know.
Sad age. Now you know that's how I felt, in college before this guy over here got into wrestling and before we got the rest of them. I would just watch Monday Night Raw and whatever pay-per-view by myself while these fools are playing Halo and you guys just look over your shoulder, look back at me and make fun of me.
Yeah, I watch them on my computer if I can, stream it or something, but, if I do, I have my headphones in and I'm, in bed and, somebody's watching, don't
Nobody's
judge me.
Maybe I should have done that because I didn't care. I was turning up the volume. Screw you guys.
I'm really anal about watching wrestling though. I don't like people. I hate when girls from my dorm would walk in and be like, "Oh my god, he's so cute!" It irks me. But I was fortunate to have a really awesome roommate, and I was telling him earlier, she was a huge Alabama football fan. So move-in day, we decided, okay, I'll watch football with you on Saturdays, but Monday nights from 9 to 11, this is it. This is what we're doing. And I guess this was before they did the 3-hour Raw, or maybe it was 8 to 11. But either way, we would watch Raw, and this is a side note. I don't remember what we started talking about this for, but the thing that got her most involved, we were all in there watching, and she might have had headphones in doing her computer work or whatever, and it was the night Jerry the King Lawler had his heart attack. And she looked, and she just kind of looked at me, and with me being involved in wrestling and on the phone with people sometimes, she'll hear me use terms and stuff, and she's like, "Is this a work?" And I just look at her, and there's a tear in my eye, and I'm like, "No, this isn't. This is real."
Oh, dear Lord,
she watched week after week to check up on his updates and stuff, and when he came back, when he addressed the crowd, she had people in her room, she's like, "Shut up, I want to hear what the king has to say," and I'm like, "That's my girl, that is my girl." So, it's
like we're in England, it's like, pip pip, no, the king is talking, no.
But it was awesome. So, it's hard for me to find people to watch, but I found out towards the end of the year that apparently there's a group of wrestling fans in Wilmington who go to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch the pay-per-view, and I'm never invited to this, so I'm going to invite myself.
Go for it.
Next Sunday, I'll be watching SummerSlam with all my fellow wrestling nerds in Wilmington.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right on.
Our BB Wawa's does not do wrestling. I've already checked.
Our what?
Buffalo Wild Wings?
What did
you originally call it?
BB Wawa's?
He's got weird names for everyone.
That's called BB Wawa's.
No, I heard it called B-dubs, but not BB Wawa.
I thought you were saying your name for Barbara Walters. Because it sounds because his name for Barbara Walters is Baba Wawa.
Bubba Wawa and BB Wawa.
Yes, there you go. See, she gets the difference.
Okay, I get it now.
Whatever.
Yeah, our thing with pay-per-views now is we all, at least me and Joel, we seem to be working every Sunday.
Yeah.
So basically, I get off at 11 on Sunday nights, and the guys just come over here, and we just tough it out.
3 a.m.
Tough it out till 3 a.m., and then I turn around and go to work the next day.
those...
That's crucial.
Those filler matches
That's how
that aren't the main events are a lot longer at 1:30.
We are dedicated to this podcast.
I like it.
We do it for you guys.
So
Um...
So okay, so let's move on. So that's talking about stories and storylines that get you into wrestling. What got you into wrestling
originally?
I'm really bad with dates, like I've said, but I would go see my dad every other weekend, and he didn't have cable, and he lived in a bachelor pad, so we would watch old VHSs of wrestling, and the one that stuck out in my head was a Starrcade scaffold match. And it was formed in Atlanta and Greensboro. And so I fell in love with the fact that, wow, this is right down the road. And then the scaffold match was the Road Warriors versus the Midnight Express or Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
Right, Rock and Roll Express?
Midnight.
I think it was midnight, I believe.
Okay, so it was Ricky Morton, right? Okay, so I fell in love, and I was really excited to watch this, and I would watch it over and over and over again to the point to where I knew the match like the back of my hand.
Well, scaffold matches are kind of rough to get into, but okay.
Well, I know, I was really weird and I really liked it. And then fast forward a few years, I would still only watch VHSs. It's not like I watched Monday night, whatever it was called then, or Thursday night SmackDown or anything. I would just watch these old VHSs. But my dad knew my weird obsession with Ricky Morton and from this match, so there was a Greensboro fair. They had a wrestling company come there, and Ricky Morton was supposed to be like the big name that was there, and I went, I had a sign, and I was so excited, and Ricky Morton was not as nice to me as I was hoping. I was like 6 or 7, so...
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was actually my first, like, heartbreak. Like, I remember being really upset, and then I started watching wrestling, like, week to week.
I was about to say, did you turn into, like, a big anti-Morton fan? Like,
No, it's funny. I've been working in wrestling promotions in North Carolina for 5 years, and he's been on several shows that I was supposed to be on or supposed to have gone to, and I've yet to meet him. Like, by the grace of God or by whatever.
Or just by happenstance,
yeah, somehow or another, I have yet to meet him. Like, this past weekend in Charlotte, he was there, and I was supposed to be there, but I got picked up after being stranded for several days. So, yeah, I've just never got to meet him and never got to, like, fix that, like, hole in my heart that he
like, so what's your plan? If you ever do get that chance, are you going to be like, hey, dude, you were a complete jerk to me when I was 7?
I don't think I have the audacity to do that, but I would totally tell him, like, hey, you were what got me into wrestling, and you were also what got me to watch wrestling, because I was really hoping that you were still on Monday night, whatever it was, and you were going to get beat up. Like, I really just I really didn't like him. He broke my heart, and my dad, was so mad because it was not cheap to go to the show, and I had a sign, and I was so excited, and I don't know if there was a meet and greet or what. I just remember him, like, completely walking by me, and me being like, Dad, why did he just do that to me? And Dad was like, I don't know, I'm gonna go find out, though. And Dad didn't. You're not gonna go up to Ricky Morton and be like, hey, punk, talk to my kid, so...
I'm kind of jealous, She got into wrestling, because of family.
I know.
Our family just pretends that they don't know what this is.
Really?
Like, they're like, oh, yeah, he does a podcast. What about, we don't have
Birds!
We don't have to talk about that. He's very, very adamant about it, whatever it is.
No, I got lucky. My dad and I still watch it every week together, or if I'm down at school, we'll call and, like, did you just see that? Hold on a second, I don't hear what he's saying. And, put him on mute or hold or whatever. Like, yeah, Dad's still a big fan, and then my mom has 2 little boys, and my oldest brother, he's 13. He is a huge fan, and so he doesn't get to watch it because of his bedtime. So I'll call him on Tuesdays, and that's our, like, catching up is, how was school? Good, tell me about Raw. Okay, well, here's what happened, and give him a rundown, so I'm blessed.
Was there a time in your life where, like, you stopped watching and you were too cool for it for a while?
No, I've never been too cool.
Wow. You were the first person on the podcast to do that. Like,
really?
Everyone we've had, including us, there was a point in time where we were just like, usually like around end of middle school, getting into high school, and then just on through high school. Like, just didn't really care.
I was the opposite. When it wasn't supposed to be cool, I had all the faith in the world to make it cool.
You're a brave woman.
Yeah, anyone who's listening that went to my high school knows that in the 9th grade, I had a John Cena action figure that I carried to school with me.
Say it.
Action figure?
Somebody stole it from me, and I went crazy. I was so upset. I finally found it. I actually went to the principal. I was like, look, somebody stole my lunch money. They can keep it. Give me back my action figure. Find it. Everyone knew that, though. And then I also have, like, a huge, like, 6-foot cardboard cutout of John Cena that I got, like, 2006.
Okay.
And everyone who comes to my house is like, he went, there was a time where I was really, like, anal about no one could touch him, no one could mess with him, but then he became a scarf holder for me. Like, he holds my scarves and stuff. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, but no, I've never not liked wrestling. I've never had a period where I didn't watch it. I've always been adamant about getting my friends to watch it. I was kind of a, walking spokeswoman for WWE. I wore my wrestling shirts to school in high school. Yeah, so... No.
Do you have, like, a pitch, then? Like to person X who doesn't like wrestling?
Like, how would you get someone interested in wrestling?
I'm mean about it. And I know that sounds crazy, but no, when people say, oh, I don't watch that, I have to ask why. And if you tell me it's because it's fake... I immediately get aggravated with you because I'm like...
Like, is there, like, specific examples you use to, like... To combat...
Yeah, go find me a steel chair and I'll show you how fake wrestling is. Like, it pisses me off when you say stuff like that. Like, in college, I dealt with that a lot because with me traveling on weekends, it's like, oh, where are you going this weekend? Oh, I'm going to Florida for wrestling. Wrestling? Ew, let me curl my nose up to you. Yeah, what are you doing this weekend? You're staying here, you're watching whatever's on Netflix, and you're going to eat popcorn. Have fun. I'm making a name for myself and having fun.
I love everyone's response whenever we tell someone, oh yeah, we're going to watch wrestling. He's like, oh, wrestling. very next statement is, that's fake, right?
Yeah,
every
I
single
want to
time.
kick you in the throat when you say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it aggravates me. Or when I'm like, okay, I got into an argument with a really dumb person one time that said, no, I'm serious.
Okay.
They were like, they add in the sound effects. And to me, that's the dumbest thing ever, because my argument was, I went to WrestleMania, and there were 76,000 people there, and I was sitting in the nosebleeds, and it sounded pretty, legit to me.
Which WrestleMania was it?
I've gone to 27 and 29. So, in both times I sat, at this past year's, I sat at the very last row at the very, very top of MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
And I still had the time of my life. While this person probably sat at home and was watching, a soap opera or something like that, and they're telling me that what I love is fake. It just irks me to no end.
That's interesting, and it goes back to our theory, it doesn't matter if it's a quote-unquote good show or a bad show. You go to Wrestling Live, and you're going to have a great time. Because we consider 27, 29 not to be great WrestleManias.
Right.
Especially 27.
See, 27, because it was my first WrestleMania, and it was my dad's first WrestleMania.
Excited.
Best WrestleMania in history, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably be the same way. Dear Lord.
No, that's,
you got to see CM Punk and Undertaker. You got to see Living Color perform.
Yeah.
I got to see that killer video package of The Miz and Cena. That's the show,
That's
what I mean?
one of our favorite moments ever, too.
Yeah. So, when people...
And it's our favorite stage setup, to be honest with you. 27, we talk about 27.
That was the first time we got the giant awesome balloons, wasn't it?
The giant awesome balloons. Basically, the way they had the big monitor and just the stage setup, we consider that to be the best thing about WrestleMania 27.
Maybe about 27. 29 setup was phenomenal.
Oh, it was just a big old production. We made the joke that, you're reminding New Yorkers what their own skyline looks like, but still...
No, because
it's impressive how
most of the people who were at WrestleMania were not from New York. We were from all over the place, and though I was there for the weekend, I didn't get to really enjoy New York City. I went for the night, and it was beautiful, but you don't get to enjoy that skyline. So seeing it there and seeing the Statue of Liberty and seeing... Now, again, I was sat in the nosebleeds, and I was behind the entranceway. I didn't get to see that, but I did walk over and take pictures of it and stuff. That was just... That alone, the amount of money and time spent on that makes WrestleMania WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Does this mean that you got to go to the Raw episode after WrestleMania?
I didn't. I know, and that was the crazy crowd that was fandangoing. That started the fandangoing. Yeah.
That's the whole reason why he still is a thing.
That was Dolph cashing in.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was on a dreadful car
forgetting
at
his
home.
line and the crowd turning on him.
Oh yeah, when he went up to Sheamus, he was like, "What's my line?"
He said the first line twice. And looked around, and I liked he was taking time, and then he walked over to Sheamus and, literally mouths, "What's my line?" And Sheamus was goes up his mouth, do this. Okay. And now I'm going to talk into the mic.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
The next match, just the crowd turned on him.
Yeah.
Oh.
They lost the crowd that night. Oh, man.
That's our thing. We've not been fortunate enough to see any WrestleManias yet. We will someday.
Y'all not going to New Orleans this year?
See, there's that, and then there's also a Star Wars convention that was just announced in 2015. And we've never been cross-country before, and this is in Anaheim, so this would be our big moment to finally go cross-country. So we're trying to save up for that.
I believe that the main event of 31 will be Cena and Punk.
If that happens, we might...
For the title.
But haven't we seen that on Raw before?
But it will be at WrestleMania.
But it'll be the big WrestleMania moment, especially for CM Punk. He's never really had that big...
He's never closed out.
He wants to...
Undertaker, that was his big... What in the world?
So far, yes. We because CM Punk is very adamant, and a lot of he makes it known to whoever has ears that his big goal right now is he wants to close out a WrestleMania, and we think that probably is what
close out. Okay.
That's a big deal for him
because Brock and Rock are going to close out WrestleMania 30. It's good.
Oh, we know. We're not arguing against it.
As much as I want to go to WrestleMania 30, there's going to be a lot
How funny is it that they're talking about putting China in the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania XXX?
I didn't even put that together.
That wasn't me. That was somebody on Twitter. Shout out to whoever gave me that idea. But.
Yeah, because there's a lot of talk about putting DX as a whole into Hall of Fame, and now people are like, well, now they're thinking about adding in China.
China, yeah.
I'm like, ooh. Oof.
I don't know. All right.
I mean, sure. I mean, I understand that, you know, she's part of...
If Sunny can go in the Hall of Fame, like,
True.
you know what I mean? China, I definitely, not a knock on Sunny whatsoever. I'm saying, like, if they're going to induct women who made an impact, China would definitely be someone
Absolutely.
to put in there.
You know, it's,
Yeah.
you know, she didn't really go down that huge spiral until after, really.
Yeah, what she did for wrestling is a big part of wrestling history. So, and it kind of amazed me that Trish would go in before China would. As much as I love Trish, and
Right.
she is definitely one of the
Well, yeah, and I mean, Trish was like, she was the figurehead of the Divas division at the time, so
Yeah.
I understand, like, you know, except, you know, China, you know, she held a men's title, she
Yeah.
held the Intercontinental belt, like, you know, that on its own, she probably should go on her own merit,
Yeah.
but that's probably not going to happen as long as she's still doing porn, so...
I think her going in with DX would be the more suitable thing. I don't
Yeah.
think that her going in as China.
Yeah,
into the Hall
and
of Fame is
it'll be
worth
one of those things where it would be dumb to ignore.
Yeah,
really.
agreed.
Like they got through 1,000.
I would say, but they did 1,000.
But see, the big kick that was the first time we saw
Road Dogs. Or X-Pac.
X-Pac, Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn. Like, we got to see all those guys back together again. So that was the big kicker, and we were okay with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Because when they said DX is going to be with us, Sean and Triv are going to be
yeah. But then rumors were coming out like, oh, dude, the other guys are coming. Like, oh, okay. So we were fine with that. We
Yeah.
didn't really, you know. But now it's like, well, if you're going to do a Hall of Fame, you might as well go ahead and include everybody.
Yeah, I
So.
agree.
there. Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah, there.
Okay. So, before the podcast started, you mentioned that The Rock's like your third favorite, right?
You're so funny. No.
Okay, but so the two WrestleManias that you've been to are, you know, Rock showboating moments.
Yeah.
So, how does that make you feel?
WrestleMania 27, I could care less what Rock did because I was just so excited to be at WrestleMania.
Of course.
This year, it was, if Rock wins, I'm not going back to North Carolina. I will find a hole in MetLife Stadium to crawl in and wither away in. Funny story, I am an annoying wrestling fan, for sure. I've been watching wrestling forever, so John Cena's always been one of my favorites, judge me if you will, but I was always one of those crazy fans that would, like, even if I was watching it at JP Looney's for pay-per-view, I'm up, I'm jumping, I'm in your face talking junk, I'm crying if Cena loses, I am on the table screaming, like, I'm an insane wrestling fan, but I'm fun, or at least I think I'm fun. The people who don't like Cena don't think I'm
You're
fun.
enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the important thing, yeah.
So, the group of people I went with were guys who I work with at CWF in Burlington, and they kind of had their own idea of what a wrestling fan should be. So, I think, like, at some points I was nervous about geeking out about it because I didn't want to be called a mark because I hate that term.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm at WrestleMania, I'm going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So 2 rows ahead of me, I'll get to the point. 2 rows ahead of me, there's this huge, like, anti-Cena fan who, before the night even started, was turning around telling me, like, Cena sucks. And I'm like, yeah, so do you. Like, you know, whatever. I'm yelling at him.
Yeah.
And during that match, I am obnoxious. I am not sitting in my seat whatsoever. I'm running up and down these aisles, up and down these, like, stairs that could, potentially kill me because they're, like, 90-degree angles. I'm at the very, very top of MetLife Stadium. I was convinced I was the loudest person there. Cena wins. The guy that's been running his mouth all this time turns around and his face was just like the saddest puppy dog eyes in the world. And I have no heart and no soul for this guy. I go right up to him, get in his face, and do the "you can't see me." And he sits down and puts his face in his palms, and he's just like devastated. And the girl that he was with and the guy that he was with is like, "You need to leave him alone." That's not going to make me leave you alone. At this time,
God,
I'm
that
an
just makes it
18-year-old
worse, yeah.
diehard Cena fan, and you've been running your mouth all night long. No, you're going to get this. I'm doing da-da-da-da, and I'm like singing and screaming and doing all these like hand gestures to him. And there's a picture on Twitter or Instagram one where he's crying, and I'm just thumbs up, cheesing, happiest kid on the planet. Like,
Oh, dear Lord, you need to send me a link to that.
Oh, I will.
really want to see that.
Yeah, because I was, I'm just a huge Cena fan. So
no matter trolling this guy.
No, I was.
I love
no
it.
matter what and then I did get really upset when in the end Rock wants to shake Cena's hand and like walk him to the front and like do this big photo op.
The big moment that Rock had with Hogan.
Yeah. Because I don't respect The Rock. I don't enjoy The Rock. I've never, and it's not a recent thing either. It's like I've never liked him. Little Chasity was never going around the house doing the people's elbow or the big eyebrow raise. One, because I can't do it, and two, because it's stupid. So I've never been a Rock fan ever. And, I've never been a Rock fan, and then for him to come back and steal the show in a way that's him not doing something that's deserving of stealing the show, I get angry. So at the end, after all this Fruity Pebbles and you aren't worthy enough, all this bullcrap that he's talked about, he wants to shake Cena's hand and do a photo op, that's for no one but himself. He wanted... The pictures for WrestleMania 29 weren't Cena holding up that title. It was Cena holding up the title in one hand and Rock's arm in the other.
Well, yeah, and like they wanted to recreate that photo of Rock getting that same treatment from Hogan. What was it? 19 or something?
19,
Yeah, it was something like that.
I mean, it's the torch passed.
Right. And they were really wanting that moment.
I hated it.
Yeah, and that was the thing, like, WWE's like, oh, they're going to go nuts for it. And I remember distinctly them doing that, him raising his arm and getting booed out of the building.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people.
MetLife Stadium booed him like crazy.
Well, yeah, and like a lot of people just didn't really seem to like the match in general.
No Rock match these days are good though.
Yeah,
I remember watching 29, and I'm so glad. 28. I'm so glad I didn't go to Miami that year.
Yeah,
I really wanted to go.
It was okay, but
I would have burnt Miami down during that match. I would have literally this year I was threatening to crawl into a MetLife Stadium hole, but if I were in Miami, I would have been in the ocean. Because when Rock won, after one of the worst matches of a WrestleMania history, in my opinion, Rock got carried through that entire thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He was blown up after however many things. The fact that Cena got booed for showboating and doing the Rock thing, I thought was stupid. So this year when the Rock...
Well, that was mostly because it was in Miami.
I don't care.
I understand that. I'm just saying.
I hated it.
That was their reasoning. Might be a terrible reason, but yeah.
Yeah, it's we're not... Wrestling fans aren't the smartest.
I mean, I'm not going to cheer for the Hardys just because I'm from North Carolina.
Right, exactly. So, and I don't pull for Cena.
Oh, never mind. Joel will.
Joel will.
That's Joel.
I like Jeff Hardy.
I do too. I love the Hardys.
And I very, very much dislike Matt. I'm okay with Jeff.
Really?
Matt, especially his later years with WWE, it's like he just gave up, and I have no respect for people like that.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure I know he's cleaned up his act lately.
No.
And all that stuff, but still.
Going on the Hardys, I think when you, in Matt's position, he was the brain behind the Hardys. He set up that backyard wrestling.
Yeah.
He set up Omega with the boys. He wanted this to happen. And then for him to never get the gratification of it. It was never, let's go Hardys, we love Matt. It was always, we love Jeff.
Yeah.
So for you to and that's what happens a lot in wrestling these days. Someone sets you up on such a pedestal because you're supposed to do this together, and then one outshines the other.
Yeah.
You're gonna get pissed, and you're gonna get upset about it.
It takes a very special type of person to willingly do that. Like, Jericho's always trying to set up somebody younger, and it's by design. It's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I respect Matt so much for the brain that he put in the work that he put into the Hardys.
I absolutely appreciate it. It's just...
And I think if you once you get into the business, you realize that everyone takes a break eventually. Everyone gives up on it because it is such a strenuous and, there's so much drama and BS and, politics that go into getting somewhere in wrestling that, for Matt, it was... He's constantly pushing the two of them, and Jeff's always outshining him. So I think that him, quote unquote, giving up was really just he needed it. He needed a break, and I agree he did go off on the hinge a little bit eventually, but
right, and it all came essentially crashing down for him.
Yeah, they both.
And that's something that I will say that I'm not the biggest Cena fan, but something I very much appreciate him is that he's basically since. Whenever his last extended time off, I don't even remember, but it's been a long time. He's basically been working straight
since
that
years. Surprise return at the Rumble.
I believe so. 2008. And he's been working straight ever since, and he hasn't had that moment of just feeling burnt out or he needs a break or anything like that. So, I mean,
And I
have
think people
respect
fail
for
to realize that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Cena does the same 5 moves each night. Yeah, but he's doing those same 5 moves 5 nights a week. Like, he is working his butt off.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot to show for it.
Yeah.
You know, we said we were going to get to Total Divas. Like, watching him on Total Divas, he has an immaculate house, a beautiful, glorious, glamorous life that he's living because he is the face of WWE.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's living in a house with hardly any furniture because he has no time to shop for it. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
bless
yeah,
his
I
heart.
made the joke that, you know,
Yeah.
that, what, did he lose the furniture in the divorce? But then again, like, how often is he at that house?
Yeah,
Like,
you don't need a couch if you're never sitting
No.
on it. Like,
you need a bed to stay in for, like, that one night that you're there before
Yeah.
you go on your next plane. Absolutely. So, I don't know. And I think, and that's why I was okay with whenever Punk decided to take a break, because obviously he felt like he was at that point, and plus he was pretty banged up. I was like, give him that break. Yeah,
he worked so
Yeah.
hard on the indies to get signed, and then when he got signed, he
was-
worked nonstop.
Yeah.
So for him to take a
And
break,
the
it
one
was
time he got,
short-lived.
anytime he got hurt, you know, he'd come back at commentary and basically would set up his next move, because that was a big setup for him starting the new Nexus. Not the greatest angle, but still.
yeah,
And that was after he carried the title for a year, which puts him...
Oh yeah. He's been trying to essentially elevate himself and the WWE title for a year, and putting on constant good matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for John Cena to be doing it this long and have yet to reach that point where he needs some time away from it, it's very, very commendable.
right.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Yeah, I can too. Let's touch on a few more bullet points
All right.
before we get to the next monster thing that we're going to talk about. And it's something that I know you want to talk about. So they went to South Africa last week. Mm-hmm. Randy Orton was attacked by a fan.
Not necessarily attacked.
Okay, he was... He received a punch to the groin from behind.
Yes.
By...
That he sold like it was a pile driver. It was the most devastating move of the night in that match when he bumps off the second rope and's like, oh!
Yeah.
And then he
falls
gets up
over, yeah.
madder than I don't know what. Like, I'm coming for you.
It was later identified that the person who did it was a 20-year-old South African wrestler named Tashibo Sakabi.
Okay.
And so, that information alone was like, oh, okay, it might have been a work, it might have been something that... I was like, I don't think so. Like, I think it was a guy who just hopped the rail, tried to make a name for himself.
Yeah, I was like, I think there's a lot of like, my moment
They
to
were like-
shine.
But didn't
they're
he
like-
get arrested? I read he
believe
was
so,
arrested
yeah.
and was put in jail for like assault.
Because I believe he also...
Hit Big E.
Yeah,
early
he
in
made
the
some sort of
match.
contact, because I saw the video, and you saw him come out from behind Orton, then basically get kicked out of the ring, and then next thing you know, you see Big E in the foreground, pissed as all get out, like... So I'm assuming something happened, and then, you know, eyewitnesses said that, you know, he did make some sort of contact with Big E.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think it was any sort of work.
No, and you know
Because a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to be the next Santino. I was like,
no,
that's
because
weird-
that's why Orton was so upset. He said
Yeah.
that it took security too long to stop him. Like,
Yeah.
why was he ever able to jump the railing and get
that's
in the ring?
that's why people were saying it's a work, because he did like the whole like walk up like it was
Creeped up on
creeped
him,
up
like
on
he
him.
had his moment. He was trained. He knew what he was doing.
At first I was like, is that Dean Ambrose? Like, it looked like Dean Ambrose was about to strike someone from behind, the way he kind of carried himself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would love to know if he went to Raw or SmackDown that night knowing he was going to do that, or if he just got too drunk that it's going to be a good idea to beat up Randy Orton.
Either would have been a good possibility. You
Yeah.
know.
Because, if he's an independent worker over there, like, he's trying to make a name for himself, and being
Yeah.
that guy that hit Randy Orton
That's
is
not-
definitely making a name, but you
That's
can't
not the
really
name you
work if
want.
you're in jail.
No, and you're not going to get a job at WWE that way.
You're never going to get booked
No.
anywhere that's significant if you're the guy that's got a record for assault on a wrestler. Like, no one's going to want to put
Yeah.
you in a locker room with other names. Or,
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
how is someone going to trust? How is another wrestler going to trust you to work a match with them? Like, because there's got to be a good deal of trust to work a match with anyone. Mm-hmm. You know, and so when someone finds out this about this guy, I don't see how you can trust him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a wrestler, I wouldn't know, but still, it just, I don't know. It seemed like that would just be a big, big, big red flag.
Yeah.
Another issue that was in the news today, Kurt Angle He has committed his 4th DUI. He is in rehab now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
4th DUI. Really?
4th.
Wow.
How does this guy get a license?
I know. It's like, is there some...
Like, I thought it was like a 3-strike policy or something, and you just don't get it again. Apparently not. I mean, of course, a prominent public figure, sure. Probably a different treatment, but still.
Not that I think that Kurt Angle should be able to, but I'm really curious as to how much one of those buses cost that, the big names in WWE have.
Yeah.
Because he might have to have that soon.
I mean,
if he has a job after this.
Yeah. I mean...
TNA's been doing some, docking, and I don't think...
And that's the thing, like, that might be the reason why he doesn't have a bus like that, because, TNA, as we're seeing now, they're not doing so well financially, so I don't know if they can afford to pay him that much to...
Well, they're paying all their money to Rampage and Tito Ortiz, like...
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah. Rampage was feuding with Kurt Angle.
Well, not anymore.
I win!
Here you go, Tito. Yeah. Yeah, like, that's something that's really hit the fan the past couple weeks. Just how badly they're doing financially, like letting go people left and right. Letting go people that they promised would always have a job at TNA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then this whole, like, okay, release who you want. Make, save money here and there. I get that. But if they were still doing what they were doing before, where they were just running in Florida and they were just doing their small house shows and stuff like that, they would have never been able to bring in these prominent names like Tito Ortiz or Rampage Jackson.
No, yeah.
So
they had to do something, yeah.
Yeah, but like the people they're letting go, it's like I don't understand their reasoning behind it. And then when Dixie Carter had her little Ask Dixie thing.
That was the biggest train wreck.
No, and I don't know if in her mind she thought, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get all these wonderful ideas and wonderful questions.
And it was right in the middle of all this stuff happening,
yeah,
too.
like did you honestly think people were going to be happy with you?
Have you never turned on the internet before?
Yeah, like it was her first time on Twitter.
So much time on Reddit. Looking at all the screen caps.
No, nobody was happy with her during this time. And then now you've got Jesse Sorensen has his new T-shirt that he's debuted that says the hashtag Ask Dixie, and people are pissed off at him for it. Like, how could you do something like that? Why don't you go out with class? Class would be not releasing someone who's out injured right now, someone you promised a job, someone that you said,
someone who
literally
was making an income and didn't have to wrestle again. Ever.
Yeah. Someone who literally broke their neck for your company. Like,
and was willing to come back.
Yeah. Like, and I respect the heck out of Jesse Sorensen. I think him coming out with his T-shirt is no slap in anyone's face other than the people who slapped his. Like, that's exactly how I look at it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The people who were sending Dixie hate mail turned around and did the same thing to Jesse for posting this T-shirt, and I think it's stupid.
Wow. I hadn't heard that. That's, nah.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about, like, you have no class, you go out with some dignity here. Like, no, all class and dignity went out the window when you let go of me when I'm out hurt. So, no, TNA's on a downward spiral.
So, what would you say is the best possible outcome for this TNA thing right now? For either for TNA or for you and your own personal entertainment.
They have 5 active divas. Okay, so that's, and one of those divas is or knockouts, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
one of those knockouts is your knockout referee, ODB, and now she's getting back into wrestling. But, so you have, that's one singles match or a tag match. Like, you can't really do much with 5. Yeah. And then you're limiting your, deteriorating your locker room more and more, and your roster is, just falling apart. There's not much you can do for a year's worth of wrestling with 19 or 20 people.
Right.
And if you are going to do something like that, you can't run week to week. Like, we're going to see the exact same matches 6 times a month. Like, it's crazy. So, if TNA is going to last much longer than, like, this year's Christmas, they've got to do something. They've got to get rid of these people who no one wants to see anymore. Like, God bless Sting and Hogan, but no one wants to see them anymore.
Not against each other. Like, basically the only interest...
Or wrestling, period,
The only interest people seem to have in Sting now is he needs to come to WWE and have that match against Undertaker. Like, it's something that we've all been wanting for years now, and they still can pull it off right now. Right now they can.
I think my generation of fans and those younger than me who are buying the T-shirts at WrestleMania, because most of people who remember Sting and Undertaker aren't going to WrestleManias every year or going to WrestleManias and buying the merchandise and spending money on stuff. You know, they'll order it from home because it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I agree that if they did Sting and Taker, it would pull that crowd there.
Yeah.
But the younger fans and the fans...
Oh, yeah, they won't have any idea, yeah.
No one wants to see that in our minds. Like, we don't care about that.
Yeah.
Now, I respect Sting and I respect Hogan, but there comes a point in every worker's life where you have to hang up the boots and allow the younger generation to have to shine.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like about Sting, though. He can still pull out a good match every now and then. Not going to all be great because, you know, that age.
Yeah.
Can you blame him? Yeah. They're relying on him a lot.
No,
more than they should.
Sting could wrestle a great one-a-year schedule the way that.
Oh
Taker
yeah,
does.
absolutely. That's what I'm getting at. Like,
So could Ric Flair, though. Oh gosh, don't do that.
I'm not so sure anymore. Though.
Oh gosh, don't do that to me.
I respect Ric Flair. I respect everything he's done for the company.
Both companies.
All the companies.
I respect everything he's done for the business.
There you go.
In life.
Yes.
I would marry Ric Flair tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Go on the record saying that.
Okay.
I love Ric Flair.
I think he's open right now.
You'll probably be wife number 15 or something. I
think
don't
it's 7.
know. Close enough.
Yeah. I met him in the New Jersey airport on the way to, or at the Newark, New Jersey airport.
You would think you would meet him in North Carolina.
No, okay. This is a side story here too.
Okay.
But I got off the plane, flew from Wilmington to Charlotte, and from Charlotte to New Jersey. My dad had no idea I was going to WrestleMania this year. I called him from New Jersey and said, "Dad, I just met Ric Flair." "Where?" "In the Newark, New Jersey airport." "What?" And I'm like, "Can we get over the fact that you're mad I'm here and just talk about the fact that I just met Ric Flair?" But no, I got off the plane.
It's a good way to break it to him, yeah.
Right? Yeah, because it's mine and my dad's favorite wrestler of all time. So I get off the plane, I'm walking. There is this like 9-foot tall, 6-foot wide black man in a tux holding a sign that says Flair, and it's spelled like his real last name, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not shy and I'm not quiet ever. And so, in a time like this where you're not, you know, you don't think about going, like, okay, if it were like Britney Spears' tour bus driver, you're not going to go up to him and be like, "I want to meet Britney Spears." So I go up to this guy and I'm like, I hit him on the arm, like, "Do you know who you're picking up right now?" And then this, like, deep baritone voice, he's like, "I only pick up the best of the best." And I'm like, no, he is the best. To be the man, you have to beat the man. Like, do you know who Ric Flair is? And he was like, "I'm not a big wrestling fan." "Screw you, I am." And I grabbed the sign and turn around, and as I turn around, it was like a freaking movie. Here comes Ric Flair walking towards me in slow motion, like there's a halo over his head. I am grinning to like there is no stopping my smile. And he walks up and he's like, "How did I get to be so lucky?" And like puts his arm around me, and I can't like. You know,
that is classic Ric Flair. Oh my god!
I should be speechless. I should be like, "Oh, Ric Flair, like what am I supposed?" No, I said, "Mr. Flair, sir," and I just started rambling, and I'm like, "I've been watching you since I was 4." La da 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 da. And you know, he somewhere in my like rambling story, he hears me say something about wooing when I was little. I said, wait a minute now, baby girl." He was like, "If you can woo, I gotta hear it." All right, who else would be nervous to woo in front of Ric Flair?
That would be the one time I were like, "Woo!"
No, I said, "Mr. Flair." He said, "Call me Rick." I said, "Ric Flair, sir, I have been waiting 18 years to do this." And like as dramatic as possible, I like plant my feet and like flip my hair and woo, and the entire airport, it was like was silent, and all of a sudden you start hearing it echoing. You know, it just happens. All these people are here for WrestleMania.
Anywhere you go, yeah.
So it was just this magical moment, and as he walked away, he told the limo driver something about, like, you know, "She could be my 7th wife." But in the midst of our conversation, he stopped me and he said something about, like, "Where are you from?" Because I can recognize a North Carolina accent from anywhere. And my heart's melting. Like, I am spending, it might have lasted 90 seconds, but in my head it was like eternity and like a magical moment. And I'm sitting here, like, holding my breath, like, I'm having this conversation with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So I bug him and I get a picture and he walks away and I just call Dad. And that's when I'm like, "Please don't be mad, but I just met Ric Flair in New Jersey." He said, "What?" And I'm like, "I said don't be mad that I'm coming to WrestleMania, but I just met Ric Flair." "I can't believe you, you're so grounded when you get home." And I'm like, "All right, it's worth it. I'm going to WrestleMania Sunday. See you Monday." Like,
that story and how you met your all-time idol,
I know,
is how I imagine Joel would handle if he ever met Mick Foley.
Mick Foley's my favorite.
Yeah.
Really?
He's Mick Foley, I'm Shawn Michaels.
Okay, yeah, Shawn Michaels is my second favorite ever.
But yeah, like what you said, you know, I'm sure Ric Flair could pull out a match.
Yeah.
As someone who respects him, and we feel the same way about Mick Foley, we're not sure if we want to see him in another match, because we know that when they're in a match,
he might kill himself.
Pedal like metal to the floor. Like, they're going to go full speed, don't care about their bodies at all.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that, especially at their age. Like, I don't want you...
Well, that's how I feel about Hogan and Sting and all of them, too. Like, I just feel like, you know, go and be agents in the company like most of the other older guys are doing. Like, do something to benefit the business that doesn't benefit yourself. Like,
I feel especially with Hogan, like, in order to do that, you're going to have to take a big pay cut. And I think that's my solution for TNA is they really need to do away with these bloated contracts for these very pretty old former stars.
These faces that no longer have.
I mean, I understand
bodies.
the appeal of having them out there every once in a while, but to be constantly giving them those large salaries, like WWE has the Legends contracts, which you don't have to be there every week, but every now and then we can
make an appearance.
Maybe we'll use you on
show
something.
up. You're at Access.
Yeah, and you're going to get a steady paycheck. It's not going to be huge, but it'll help. And Hogan's not going to want to go for that. Hogan wants the big bucks because he's Hogan, and that's all he's ever known.
Yeah.
But I think they really need to cut down on that, and then they need to focus more on new developing talent. I that's the only way I see them, because their top card is nothing but older guys who were established from different companies. They need somebody of their own, like an AJ Styles, like a Samoa Joe, like it just, all these, they just, I don't know. That's my biggest thing.
My hope is that the Monday after SummerSlam, we get a video of Shane McMahon buying TNA. And they redo Invasion Angle.
Right.
Completely and totally. I mean, I don't think TNA's going to make it. Like, it would be nice if it did.
Right, I would love for another Monday Night Wars.
Yeah.
But TNA is just not in the same boat right now. Like, and it all points to the end for them right now. Mm-hmm. If they don't do something to change it, like, I don't know.
And so I want something out of this, and so that's my something.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I don't see that happening.
No, I don't see that happening.
It's good to dream.
Hope Ring of Honor is ready to be the second biggest wrestling promotion.
Yeah, well.
It might happen.
Side story about Ring of Honor. This weekend in Toronto, BJ Whitmer suffered a neck injury.
That big,
from Mike Bennett.
From what I heard, it looked pretty serious.
Yeah, I've only seen like a fan shot video, but it was just a normal, like he set him up for a pile driver.
I saw it was on the apron of the ring. I saw just a still photo of just the point of impact, and that alone looks scary.
Yeah, I mean, when he set him up for it, because I knew that he was about to get hurt, like it was, you do notice that he's kind of, like his head is a lot lower than normal.
He should be, yeah.
But when it hits, you cringe. Like there's
for a split second, I felt that way when CM Punk lifted up Cena in that pile driver on that match they had on Raw.
In the Raw match
before WrestleMania, and like for a brief second, I was like, "Oh no!" But then I was like, "It's Punk. He's not gonna,
Well, no, I don't want to say. I don't want to think of it like that. Like, oh, it's Punk, because I respect Mike Bennett. Like,
anything can happen with anyone. Like, mistakes happen. Yeah.
But it was so emotional on Twitter this weekend and this week.
Yeah.
You see everyone like praying for BJ, and then Mike tweets, "BJ, I love you. I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
That was the most one of the most emotional tweets I've ever read.
But then you got the response. He came back and was like, "It happens. Don't worry. I love you too." Like
that makes.
I was like, "Oh my god, this is
it
so
melts
awesome."
your heart. It really does. It's like, and then Maria said the same. Maria Canales was like, "I'm so blessed to be a part of such a great business in the sports entertainment industry, but overall to be a part of such an amazing family." Like wrestlers are so tight knit. Like we're on such a closed circuit where only the cool kids get in, I guess you could say. Like, we're all so tight that, like, and I say we, I mean, like, they're totally such a tight-knit family that, like, when one gets hurt, the support outreach is just poured. So, seeing everyone, face, heel, whatever tweet about BJ and Mike, it just shows you how supportive wrestling can be. And it's sad that, going back on this whole TNA thing, it's sad to see the lack of support and the lack of faith people have in TNA right now. Like, no one really sees it coming out of this.
And it's going to be heartbreaking for a lot of people, because the moment that if TNA ever goes under and has to close their doors, that's a bunch of people who aren't working.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
and these other wrestling promotions only have so much money to hire so many of those people. Like, so some people are going to get the bad end of the bargain. So, it's heartbreaking to see.
Definitely.
So we give TNA a hard time on here, but like that's obviously not something I want to see. I don't want to see all these people out of work all of a sudden. So
yeah, it'd be sad.
It would be. But I'm pretty sure a lot of them would land on their feet. Some of them would probably automatically get Legends contracts.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time,
But then there are some that
they're gonna land in spots that now can't be taken.
They're just gonna get those high-paying indie jobs for 6 or 8 months after their release, and then go unheard of. And some of the young kids will have the opportunity to be successful in other careers. Yeah. Some of the older gentlemen and ladies aren't going to be as successful elsewhere. Like, it's sad. Like you said, it's sad to think of how many people are going to be unemployed, and most people devote their entire life to wrestling. They don't go to school, they don't go to, they don't pursue anything else but wrestling. So when it all falls, you never want to think about what happens if this falls through, what happens if I don't make it, or what happens if I make it and something goes wrong. You just kind of put all of your eggs in one basket and hope for the best. And that's an awesome way to look at it, but if TNA does go under, those people who looked at it like that, it's sad to see where they're going to end up.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. So moving on to hopefully a lighter note. Since our last podcast, a show has begun, and it's a show that all three of us have watched, and all three of us has very strong opinions, it seems, about the show.
I'm sorry, Vince McMahon tricked an army of smarks into watching the E! Network.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was.
Yeah, it worked.
And, within, the first 5 minutes, they're calling Daniel Bryan by his real name. Mm-hmm. And so the marks are just like, I can't believe they're doing this.
Yeah.
I just said that this was produced by Kevin Dunn, so this WWE has a big thumbprint on this.
Yeah.
And they're saying Bryan Danielson,
That's saying what I'm saying earlier, they're doing so many things that are real, but they're making us question it. We don't want the truth, because that sucks the fun out of it. When you tell us, this is the real thing, you're kind of like, what? No, you're lying.
Well, yeah, if they go too far with it. But there's a certain element that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it makes it fun.
What CM Punk started in 2011, that started kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit. And, some of it, they're pulling more storylines from real life, but it's, obviously
it's working. The last time I remember something like this being a big deal was the Edge, Matt Hardy, and Lita thing. Yeah. It was a real life,
and it turned into a
terrible
great program,
thing that worked. Yeah. I Total Divas is... Honestly, my dad and I watch it. Yeah. Last weekend I was stuck in Philadelphia, so I didn't get to watch it. My dad called me with updates. He watched it on his own. I mean, I think it's great. Like you said, we've all been tricked into watching it, but I think we're all suckered in. How many people watched the Kardashians before?
That's the thing, is no, I have friends.
But I'm also at work, so.
I have friends who absolutely adore the Kardashians, and, I turn my nose up at them, and they turn their nose up at wrestling, and it's, a wonderful circle of...
Whatever.
Yeah, but then we both got to watch Total Divas together. Yeah. Getting the equal amount invested in this show.
And for me, it was just I do the wrestling podcast. I have a wrestling column every week, so I was like, I probably should watch this, shouldn't I? I feel like that about TNA sometimes, too. It's I should probably watch this, and I don't want to.
There was a while there I was like, I'm doing podcasts, and I need to watch every televised wrestling thing.
Bless your
in existence.
And how long did that last?
Well, and I counted up, because it was a week with a pay-per-view, so it was 3 hours for pay-per-view, 3 hours for Raw, 2 hours for SmackDown, 2 hours for Impact, an hour for Main Event, an hour for Saturday Morning Slam, and
even the internet stuff, yeah,
an hour for Ring of Honor, because they had their thing on the CW. Mm-hmm. So 13 hours of wrestling.
Yeah.
And how many how many weeks did you do that?
About 2 weeks.
Okay.
About 2 weeks.
Because I reached the point every week around Wednesday, I was like, okay, I need a few days away from wrestling, because we go from Monday night all straight to the podcast, and then the next day I got to write the column. It's I've got enough of wrestling for right now.
Especially on a pay-per-view week.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I've always said that you were pretty brave, so...
well, I did it for like 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, for those 2 weeks. So, yeah, Total Divas. It's not as horrible as I thought it would be. I'm not a complete fan of everything. Like, I have a theory that pretty much 50% of the people featured on the show are completely reasonable people who have their heads screwed on straight, like they're, decent people who love this business. And the other half are the most insane psychopaths on the planet.
Eyebrow guy?
Yes.
What's the boyfriend? Like
The
the one
one
boyfriend that's not a wrestler?
Yeah, well, no, Eva Marie, she has a fiance now that she's
does she?
Well, he proposed to her on the
With donuts.
show with donuts in the hotel, again, on the show, after they've been dating for 2 months.
Oh, I haven't seen this episode
Yeah.
yet.
What?
I haven't seen the second episode yet.
Oh, last night was a good one.
So.
Okay.
I thought it was great.
Okay, it's just, okay. Let's start with the Funkadactyls, okay? I don't know their stage names, and I hardly know their real names.
Naomi and another one.
The one that's actually been a wrestler for a while now.
Naomi. The
No.
one that is engaged to an Uso.
Yes, that.
Yes,
Yes.
Naomi.
She seems like she absolutely cares what she's doing, and she's looking out for her partner, Ariane, or whatever.
Cameron, yeah.
Cameron. Like, she's looking out for her, making sure that she doesn't screw this up, because if something goes wrong with her, they're linked together. So
I love that she said that. She said, "We are not a singles. I am not a singles competitor." She said, "We got this job as a unit. We are a unit in this company's eyes. Therefore, if one of us messes up, we go down together." And she said that like so professionally and like concerned. She didn't want to lose her job over the stupidity of her tag partner.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm starting to admire her. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I was impressed by some of the stuff that the glimpses I've saw of her in the ring in the past few months.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I was like, okay, she's seems like a genuine human being right now.
And then the
her
previews
partner-
for coming up, her and the Uso gets into it, and he says, if you were dedicated to me as much as you were devoted to this company, maybe we wouldn't be here right now. And I just think that shows you, like, she is a dedicated
And it
worker.
kind of shows you, like, maybe he's not as dedicated as you might think to the company.
Yeah. Well,
Wait, and I'm trying to figure out...
this was recorded before this big Uso push lately, too.
Well, that, and which Uso was it that just got a DUI? I don't think it was that one.
No, I don't think it was him.
Okay.
She's with Jimmy, which is the one without the chest tattoo, I believe.
If you say so.
Okay.
I could be lying, but...
But I also know that that's not his real name. Like, his
Yeah.
real name's like Joe or something like that.
Yeah.
Or John or...
Yeah, because
I don't like real
Or it was
names.
John, yeah, because they have a thing
she was
about
referring to him,
calling
and
Johns.
I'm like, that guy looks a lot like an Uso.
But she keeps calling him John.
This is weird.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, oh, he's in
so yeah, like the other Funkadactyl, I call her the Fakadactyl because we infamously know her from Tough Enough, being the first person voted off.
Is she Alicia Fox's little sister?
No. She's
No?
the one that went. She was the girl who lasted the longest.
Okay.
Ariane was the first person taken off the show.
Okay, that's what I thought. I knew
Yeah.
Alicia Fox's little sister was good.
Yeah.
But she was the one that said Melina and Alicia.
Yeah. Stone Cold, like, at the end of the episode, he's like, what's your favorite match that you've ever seen?
Asked who this? The
Ariane.
Funkadactyl?
Ariane,
Okay.
yeah. And she was like, Alicia Fox and Melina. And Stone Cold, like, he kind of did a double take, and he was like, who? I was like, and I'm like, you're staring there, right there at Stone Cold. You at least said Stone Cold and Rock. You
said
didn't have to
Stone
say
Cold
which
and anything.
one. Yeah. Stone Cold and Broom would have been a better answer.
Bless her heart.
And so pretty much for that reason, she was taken off because she was like, I don't know how to wrestle, I don't really care, but I'm here. And I think it's still funny to say she's the only one from that entire cast from Tough Enough to have a job at WWE right now.
Yeah.
Everyone, even the winner, was kicked out for substance abuse.
Yeah, nothing.
2 substance abuse.
Nothing came
violations.
from that Tough Enough season.
No. That's probably why there hasn't been another one.
Yeah.
Because there was just no upside for them
Well,
from that batch.
Yeah, they
Except
also
for Ariane.
expanded Raw another hour. So.
True. So there's that. It's just to see, like, the first episode with the guy that you named Eyebrows.
He's big eyebrows.
He comes up and, she's all distraught over
Brodus telling her that she sucked.
Yeah, Brodus getting upset with them going through what their WrestleMania was supposed to be like. and she comes back and she's upset, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh no, no one talks to my woman like that." And I'm like, dude, have you seen Brodus Clay?
See, and that aspect of it, I can tell is not complete reality TV.
Right.
Because for one, if you're not a part of the show, you're not in the back. And I can tell that just from working on the independent scene.
Yeah.
No one goes in the locker room unless you are a part of it. And I know it was like backstage or whatever, but they have like a, and I've never been in anything like this, but I'm sure there's a room or somewhere that they put the people.
There's no way.
There would be no way in the world that he was in the back like that. And if he would have made a scene like that, there would have been a lot more turmoil than
there would
just,
have been a
I'm
lot
gonna
more
beat him
people.
up.
There would have been a lot more people stopping him other than just Natalya.
Right.
Yeah.
And props to Natalya, and I loved how she's like, I just saved him from getting his butt kicked.
It's like, yeah,
So
like
cute.
first of all, like, have you not seen Brodus Clay?
Did he used to be Snoop Dogg's bodyguard?
That's what I was
Yes,
saying.
he did.
This guy was Snoop Dogg's bodyguard.
He don't play.
Like, I'm pretty sure he's seen some stuff and has done some stuff that would make most grown men curl up in a ball forever. from
Right.
this. I'm like, oh my god. Like, so yeah, at that point I was like, okay, this was probably staged.
Right.
Yeah, this is, and also, you kind of feel bad for Natalya because, like, she's all optimistic at the beginning, and you see her in the ring, and dear Lord, she's amazing in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, and we hardly ever get to see that. Like, we see a much watered down version
I
of
think
her.
they're pushing her to be more of an agent eventually. Like they want,
yeah.
Like with Del Rey getting signed to
be a trainer,
developmental as a
essentially, yeah.
trainer. Del Rey is the best women's wrestler today.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, anyone who disagrees is by far like, you're insane. Your opinion is no longer valid. Like there's no argument to say that anyone is better than Sarah Del Rey. Now, for her to be a trainer rather than a worker, at first you're kind of like, that's stupid. Why would they not utilize her? But look at how much she's done.
That
for
is a very, very large wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
right
and
there.
she has a guaranteed job. She is a member of WWE. She is on the she is an employee. She is making this company
and also
better.
that says a lot about her that she's willing to do that.
Yeah.
That's like
And
what
I
we were saying
think-
about Jericho. That's right down the same alley.
Yeah, so with Natty, I think they're trying to push her as more of an agent because she's grown up around this business. She knows how to teach the girls. Like
And
Del
you can
Rey's
see
can
that
teach you how to work.
she's a big time caregiver. Like,
Yeah.
she will take care of
And I
people.
think Natty's the perfect person to teach the girls the psychology and the politics in the back. Like, I think this show's goal is to, the veteran girls might not have a very good reputation. So I think the Bellas are portraying that bad veteran rep.
Right.
And I think the new girls kind of have a bad reputation of just coming in, not knowing a thing about the business, just thinking, hey, he's cute, I could probably do, that. Like, I could be the dancer for him. So they're portraying that. Now, maybe everything's not 100% true or reality, but they are portraying what really goes on day to day.
Yeah.
And I think with Natty,
it might be more like
Condensed.
well, I'm saying like it might be a little bit more exaggerated than what it usually is, but yeah.
And with
absolutely.
Natty, I think she's been given this role is, hey, you've grown up around this, you know how this business works, teach these girls the right and the wrong. And she hit the nail on the head when she says that James, pretty much the creative director or whatever, is asking her, hey, train these girls, make them great, and let them take your spot. And if I were her, it'd be really devastating and upsetting and stuff, but at the same time,
she does it, yeah.
Yeah, she does it with a smile, and she's good at it, and, I respect Natty so much for that.
Yeah.
That
That was the one thing I had a hard time buying. It was like 4 days before WrestleMania. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to be on the card or not.
Or, it was like a week or so, but yeah. Basically, we saw the moment in front of the cameras when the EVP of Talent Relations sat Natty down and was like, you're not going to be on WrestleMania this year. And I'm like, it was a week before WrestleMania. She probably knew by that point. Like, because they like to have that card pretty much solidified ahead of time. So I was like, okay, well, she probably knew this. Or we're probably seeing a replay of this conversation. Mm-hmm. But I just thought it was funny that she told you that, and then pretty much in the same breath was like, but we have these two developmental girls who are going to come up and you're going to babysit.
That's a slap in the face.
Yeah, and Natalia's just like, great.
And then when they do the whole blonde and brunette thing with Eva, and they're like, we can't have you brunette because the Bella's a brunette. Natty's like, hello, you have a blonde right here, but oh yeah, you're not going to use me for anything, so sure, I'll make this girl great and blonde and perfect.
I have a theory that this Eva Marie chick is an actor. Like,
she's a bad one if she
is. That's a different discussion. But I completely agree. But I have a feeling like they hire, she's an attractive young girl. let's bring her in as an upstart wrestler or whatever. JoJo, she very well might have a wrestling background. I don't know. But I try to look up Eva Marie, and I'm like, there's nothing, no word of her in any sort of independent organization or anything
weren't
like
they
that.
both trained out in LA? They weren't even trained down at NXT until the show started being recorded. Like,
I mean, they probably did a little bit just to, kind of get them going. Be like, hey, you're going to be a part of the show. But they really didn't bring them out for the public to see until a week before the show. Or 2 weeks before the show, or something like that. So it's probably something they were trying to keep under wraps. JoJo seems a little bit more okay.
Somebody tweeted last night, I wish I could remember this because I feel like I'm stealing their line, but they said that JoJo's like the Jiminy Cricket on Eva Marie's shoulder, telling her, like, there was a little thing where she was talking, like a monologue or whatever. She was like, all of a sudden we find out Eva has a boyfriend that no one knew about, and now they're engaged. Then she takes her, her engagement ring off, and JoJo's like, you don't do that. Like, she's the very, like, modest and level-headed.
She takes her engagement ring, like, in the next scene, basically right before she's having dinner with Fandango.
She was totally hitting on him, too.
Oh, and Fandango, Fandango not knowing she's engaged, he's just laying it on Johnny Curtis getting weird style,
Yeah.
Johnny Curtis.
Oh, yeah, you saw a lot of Johnny Curtis.
Oh, I like Johnny Curtis.
We saw a little bit of Fandango. You saw Johnny Curtis.
I mean, he was
Let's
like,
get
you look
weird.
just really close. You look really beautiful tonight. And
hugging
hugging on her and kissing on her and stuff, like, and inviting her out to the club with the boys, and there were no boys there. It was just the two of them eating dinner and going dancing. Like,
oh, God. And basically, her thing that she was trying to do is, like, she was really trying to angle hard to be
the dancer.
Because at that point, he basically had a different girl every time we saw him. And basically, they're trying to be like, oh, Fandango, he decides who it is. I was like, he's got no say in this matter at all. But I love that they're trying to push that point. Like, he's a very selective person.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds
he
like
selects a different one each week.
Yes.
But when they showed them dancing and her doing terrible, and they said, do you want to do it again? He
Nope.
said, no, we're done. And he walked away.
No, like, he didn't even, he was already walking away. Like, they did, like, a trial run. It was just the EVP and, like, I'm guessing, like, her right-hand guy. Both of them watching. Music hits, and, like, some of the other divas are on the stage watching, and she basically, like, walks from point A, point B, point C, and just does something with her hands.
And she's terrible. It was bad.
It was bad. Like,
what made it worse, though, she sits in the office with Jane, the girl,
EVP.
and she says, I have a dance background. What kind of dancing? Ballroom and ballet. And they look at each other like, wouldn't we have known this? They said, why didn't we know this? And Jane says, well, we know now, so let's try her out. So then she goes to JoJo in the next scene, Eva does, and she's like, so we have a problem. What? I have no dance background. None whatsoever. And it shows because when she does the ballroom little cha-cha-cha thing with Fandango, it's dog awful. Like, it's so bad.
Like, she's just stiff and rigid.
Yeah.
Very confused as to what to do. And the right-hand man for Jane was like, I'm not a dancer, but I know that was not good. So, are you or are you not a dancer?
Like, nope.
That's when she says, no, I'm not. And the next scene is her in the office with Stephanie. And Stephanie's just
But I love is, like, the moment you were talking, like, Fandango is already walking back to Gorilla. Like, he's already walking, like, and without even breaking stride, he's like, okay, we going to do this again? He's just still walking. He's like, no, we're done.
You know that I would be so upset if I were him.
Because, I don't know a whole lot about Johnny Curtis or Fandango or anything like that, but what I do know about him is he is very, like, let's get this right. Like, he's very driven about that stuff, so I can't
Which shows you how much they must like Summer Rae. Because it was just a few weeks after that was filmed that Summer Rae debuted, and now she's, like, the it girl. Yeah. So he must be pleased with how she's doing. Mm-hmm. So.
But, yeah,
she got genuine character development on the show. Like,
on NXT?
No, she was like, she faked injuries.
Oh, yeah, the ballroom thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like, that conversation between Eva and Stephanie was just like Stephanie laying down the law.
Stephanie's on the show?
Stephanie she laid down the Vince McMahon
hand. Yeah, I was about to say, like,
if you do this again, first of all, you went behind our back. We told you to go blonde, you went red. Strike one. now you're completely lying to our faces and embarrassing not only yourself, but the company as a whole. You will be gone again. And it's kind of like your parents telling you, like, we're disappointed in you. You did not make us proud. That's different than saying, I'm mad at you. Be mad at me all day long, Dad. But the second you're disappointed in me, like, oh, man, I'm a terrible daughter. Stephanie is in her face, like, you not only embarrassed yourself, you embarrassed the company, and this won't happen again.
Yeah.
That closes the show.
Like,
You're kind of like,
she just lays it out. It's like, you will not disappoint this company, or you will not just embarrass the company. Yeah. That's what she said. Yeah, I was like, no chance, no chance in hell. Like, I see the Vince all over.
Yeah, you totally see Vince in her eyes when she says that.
So that's.
I want heel Stephanie too.
There's that. We got the lumberjack competition at Daniel's Washington home.
Yeah. Is that when Daniel doggy paddled?
No, he doggy paddled at Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Because they spent like a day at John's mansion, and then they flew over to Daniel's little meager family home that he's inheriting from his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother thing. The whole like Bella's being unsure about what in the world they want kind of thing. Like the first episode we saw, like Nikki's like, oh, I want to get married, but John and his dumb divorce that probably isn't finalized yet, but I want him to engage now. Like, there's that happened, and then this week was just them, Nikki and John basically roping in Bree and be like, do you really want to be here in Washington? Like, he doesn't have a TV, there's something to do.
There's
like,
no sunshine. You
no
love sunshine. You don't want to be here because there's no sunshine.
It basically was just like, let's make you as miserable as we are, probably. You know? Even though you've been with Daniel for much longer.
Yeah, they've been together for 2.5 years now, or 3 years
yeah,
or something.
It was at least 2.5.
It was, I believe it, like, it started whenever the whole, like, the two Bella twins are kind of fighting over storyline, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that's, I don't know, that's a different thing.
Somebody commented on it I was reading and said that this show's the closest we'll ever get to a John Cena heel character.
Oh, yeah, like, they're on the jet, his private jet, and they're talking about the fact that, which this, I feel like, was a very genuine conversation that probably really did happen, like, at that moment we caught the raw footage, was the four of them are on a jet, and Nikki says something about Eva Marie, and proceeds to talk about how her dress was already low cut, but then she had the nerve to walk over to John and I, because Eva tweeted, she wishes John Cena were her tag partner. And with Nikki sitting right down, or with Nikki sitting like 3 or 4 seats down, and JoJo was like, that was really disrespectful, you need to go apologize. So when she comes over to apologize to Nikki, she like apparently pulls her dress down and like has her boobs pushed up and stuff, and Nikki was just livid about it. So when you see her telling the girls like how upset she is, Cena is over there just grinning from ear to ear. Yeah. He's like, I like the redhead personally. I mean, I like that she's got, the boldness, and in a company where you're trying to get attention, she's doing the right thing.
Which sounds like a typical John Cena Raw speech.
Yeah. And Nikki's face is looking at him like, you aren't sleeping in bed with her tonight, so you better not say that again. Like, her facial expressions are just genuinely not, she is not okay with him talking like that. And so she says, takes her little champagne glass, she says, moving on, and like changes the topic, and it is golden. Like, I honest to God believe, and if I'm wrong, I completely got roped in then. Yeah. You believe that is like genuinely what happened, because that's totally how girls work. So that girl wore a dress that was whatever. So for Cena to be like, I kind of liked her, you just saw Nikki's face like, oh heck no.
Just you got to see that moment where John started digging his own grave, kind of thing. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh, Mr. Cena.
That's just the one I don't like reality TV just in general, because there's so many awkward moments, like at least one in every episode of anything, and I'm like, I hate awkward moments that I can't control. Like,
no, I did.
In real life, in person, I see an awkward moment happening, I'm grinning ear to ear, like it's delicious to me. But when I see it on TV, it's like, I can't enjoy this. I don't know these people.
What was awkward? What happened?
For this one was the Fandango thing, and her not knowing how to dance and knowing how awful it's going to be. I was like, oh God, someone stop this, make it stop. They're all going to be hating each other and yelling. I don't like it.
It's like watching The Office, where you're just like...
I've never seen The Office.
Lord, you haven't seen anything.
I know, I'm sorry.
Lord, you need Netflix. You need Netflix, something's bad.
But
yeah, it's
this thing where, like, for Total Divas,
it's like you're seeing a giant train wreck about to happen.
It takes me about 2 hours to watch the show because I have to keep pausing and being like, nope, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I
can
can't
stop
wait
it.
for them to develop more about JoJo, because right now I feel like she's just that
We're not
sweet.
getting much from her, and this episode we had pretty much nothing from Natalia.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I know we're going to get a lot more Natalia, especially when they get towards the wedding and stuff.
Yeah.
But JoJo, apparently there's going to be this big controversy about her
And
and Justin Gabriel,
Yeah.
who's 30 and she's like 19 or something.
Yeah, he's 30-something. He's
30-something,
in his 30s, yeah. They're, from what I've gathered on the internet, like, looking the girls up like you said you did, JoJo had, like, this one serious boyfriend throughout all of high school, and they ended things before she ever went towards this show. So I think, like, that's why she was kind of surprised. Like, I think most people wouldn't understand why it was a big deal that Eva Marie had this boyfriend no one knew about. But
Yeah.
I think WWE likes to know every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like they like you guys dating within the company because it helps the company. You
Yeah.
know? Hey, you two are dating? Ride together. It's one less car we have to rent. Or, hey, you two are dating? Good. You're not focused on anything other than the business if y'all are in this together.
Yeah.
So with JoJo starting to date Justin Gabriel, I think that's when whoever says something catty about, like, he's, 30-something and you're 19, and, like, she just gets devastated.
Yeah.
And it shows her having, like, all these mental breakdowns about,
Yeah.
like, life, and she's
Personally,
only 19. I say that like I'm old. I'm only 19
Yeah.
too, but whatever.
I think, like, the idea of this show, like, I think they, like, well, we want to kind of do a reality show at some point. They're probably wanting to save it for the network if that ever launches one day in the distant future.
April 2013.
Sure.
That's when it was supposed to launch.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though they had all those rumors saying 2012?
Yeah, it got pushed back.
Yeah, it was supposed to be
that was the
WrestleMania.
last
Oh, okay.
date that they were saying by April 2013. And
Okay.
then when that didn't happen, they have not said, oh, actually, but
Yeah.
It's like the people who are saying, "Oh, the end of the world is going to be tonight," and then it happens. Oh, but miscalculations. It's in 3 months.
Yeah.
You know. But I think, like, they had this idea for this show in some sort of format. But I think what really made them pull the trigger on it was how much interest online developed over Christmas. We saw all these photos of the Bella twins with Daniel Bryan and John Cena, because at that point we're like, whoa, John Cena's dating the other Bella twin? Like, homeboy just got divorced. Like,
Yeah, I was.
and a lot of people were, it was a big buzz. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And, and then you see, like, okay, well, you got this lumberjack looking guy in a flannel shirt with hair all over the place. And then you got this guy who's in, like, a 3-piece suit. I was like, this doesn't look like it all goes together. And they're like, reality show. And that's, and then, a few months later, Bella's come back. Like, I'm convinced Bella's only came back because of the show.
Yeah.
Because they came
look
back a
how
couple...
good they came back. Like, Brie, the one that dates Daniel Bryan,
Yeah.
is fantastic to watch. Like,
Oh, yeah.
when she
Probably
came
'cause
back,
she's training with Dana Bryan.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, when she came back, there was just a whole new aspect to her wrestling,
Yeah.
and it was great. And then the attitude that Nikki brings to it,
Which
like,
one actually held... I know one of them held the Divas belt in their original run.
I want to say it was Brie.
Okay. Yeah, because I knew one actually was decent.
Brie is the little Bella. She doesn't have the
Yeah.
fake boobs, and she's
Yeah.
got the skinnier face.
It's easier to see that now, yeah.
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 So, Little Bella was the one that I think held the
Little Bella.
championship, and she's the better worker. But Nikki is the sassy one.
Right.
That
She's got
on
the
all of
attitude.
these TV shows that they're going on to promote the show, she's the one that's like, yeah, I date John Cena, and he's the face of the company, and she's just like, she makes you want to watch it because you're kind of like, wow, this girl has a lot of attitude. Like, she's bringing something that I didn't know. Like, she puts the flair into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
sassiness. Yeah. So I like Total Divas.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I like it watching it.
I mean, I'll keep watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all saying that, and you two are like, yeah, I'll keep watching it, and I'm like, I'll keep watching it.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. You're totally like,
I move in with my roommates this week, and they have already gotten the text like, Sunday nights at this time, this is what we're doing.
It's on E!
Yeah. Okay, so a friend of mine was saying how devastating it was that it was on E before it ever debuted. She was like, this E News or the E Network is for the best of the best, like the Kardashians. Like, you can't put this fake reality show on there with the Kardashians. And then now she's watching it, she's like, no, girl, this is gold. Like, it's
I'm
so
offended
funny.
that she considers this to be the best of the best. The best of what?
Like reality TV.
Okay,
like,
okay.
E has a very,
I just thought the best of television. I was like,
no, gosh, no.
do these people not know what Parks and Rec is? Like,
No, like,
do
just
they not have HBO? Because there's some amazing stuff on HBO.
I think for, like, reality TV,
Okay.
like, E has the better and more, like, most watched shows.
Like, that's their entire...
Yeah,
that's their entire lineup, really. It's just...
But there's reality
But
TV
yeah,
shows
yeah.
everywhere, and
Well,
E
yeah,
has
yeah.
the better ones, like the ones that people care to watch.
They put a lot more behind it.
Yeah. So with WWE having something on E, it's helping, I think.
And it makes sense. You know, they... Yeah. I mean, they already have a good relationship with the guys from The Soup.
Yeah.
Which I love.
I do like that.
I love that stuff. Just that the wrestling episode of The Soup last December was the funniest thing. Like, brought on Dan O'Brien and Brodus and Eve Torres. And,
Oh, I did see that. At first I was confused what y'all were talking about, but I've seen it.
and then they even brought in the announce team. I thought that was funny. Like, for a glimpse, we got to see old Attitude Era Jerry make, you know, racy jokes. You know, I wasn't about to repeat them. I'm not going to have another breaking point this week on the podcast.
Are
Just
you
for
sure?
you, Joel.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I like Heath Slater.
I will let our friend Jeff respond on Twitter with his favorite hashtag for Heath Slater.
I'm goading you right now. I think what else? Shawn Michaels is okay.
Now you're just lying.
No, not
Yeah,
just
now
lying.
you're lying.
Yes, I like Shawn
You
Michaels.
can't say that with a straight face.
No.
No.
Okay, so I have one question because you like John Cena so much,
Okay.
and because
You're a ton of firsts on this show. Like, you're the first woman that we've had on the podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
You're the first guest that we've had actually in person. Like, all the other ones have been over Skype.
Heck yeah, it's what time is it? Like 1:40 in the morning?
I gotta go to work tomorrow.
And I'm here.
And you're the
alive and
first
happy.
person to be very adamantly in the corner for John Cena.
Yeah.
And that's a brave stance to take, knowing that this is going to be on the internet.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just a big fangirl for him. And I'm not just a fangirl in the sense that, oh, I'm a girl and I like him because he's good looking. When John Cena came out as the prototype, I loved him. When John Cena rapped,
This goes way back.
I know.
Yeah,
Alright.
no, I'm a
Okay.
diehard Cena fan. When he came out and rapped, I loved it. The CD he came out with, I knew every word to every song. My first real ringtone on my cell phone was "Bad Bad Man" by John Cena. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I do have that CD.
He has the CD. I've never
I
listened
did
to
the
it.
CD.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I really was just a huge Cena fan, and it was like when I was younger, it was like a really like, you know, that was me. You knew Chasity because she had the Cena action figure, and like, I mean, I was just obsessed. And now that I'm getting older and I'm you know, a part of professional wrestling, like, I'm learning more and more, and I respect him so much. Like, everything he does for the company, like, I don't care that there's better wrestlers in the locker room or there's better whatever. You know, if he talks, I listen. If he jumps, I'm watching. Like, I enjoy John Cena, and I will defend him wherever I go, whatever I'm doing. Everyone's always like, you know, you're crazy for liking him, but I really do. The only time I've ever not liked Cena, there's 2 times. Every year on my birthday, when he fails to, you know, wish me happy birthday, no matter how many tweets he gets, it breaks my heart. And then last night, watching Total Divas, I was kind of like, stop being like that. Like, stop being materialistic and telling Brie that she can't be happy here.
Because you're a big proponent on Brie and Dana Bryan.
No, I love them. Their relationship makes me so happy. Like, just
and
the
that's
fact-
like one of the things that you can tell is actually genuine on the show.
It is. They're so in love, and it's so, like, you know, just optimistic. It makes you happy that there's faith and relationship and love out there in the crazy world of professional wrestling. So,
God, we're suckers. I'm like, yep.
Those crazy kids are going bacon. Okay, so what's your question?
So my question is the big complaint about Cena and continuing things will always lead into some variation of there needs to be a Cena heel turn. Mm-hmm. And so, do you agree or disagree? And would you ever accept a Cena heel turn? What's the best way to Cena heel turn?
full-heartedly. If Cena gave the millions of people that boo him a reason to boo him, I would love it. And I would boo him loud and proud secretly loving him, but I would get him. Oh, I would boo him. Like I would be there in spirit or on Twitter or in my living room watching on TV. Like I would make sure that he got over as a heel as much as I could possibly do it. I don't care how they do it or when they do it. I think when they do it, it will be golden.
Do you think they will do it?
Eventually, I feel like they have to. I think if him and Nikki ever break up, I think that'll be a good way to do it. I mean, I'll be really happy. But... No, I think like there's been several opportunities where they could. Maybe this Daniel Bryan thing. Like Daniel Bryan is so over this whole yes, no thing. Is like tonight he did the arm motions, but the second he said no, he only had to say it one time. He's over. And I think I read on Twitter a few weeks ago that the only reason Vince is involving himself in the storyline is because he wants to feel it himself, going out there and feel how over Daniel Bryan is. So I think this would be a really easy way to turn Cena heel, let him do something completely outrageous to screw over Daniel Bryan. It'll be a good way to get the Bellas broken up, but I don't think that's a smart decision. But I think breaking the Bellas up, that bringing that reality to TV kind of thing would be, it's genius. And I still support it wholeheartedly. I love John Cena. And the people that don't like him, I'd love to have, for them to have a reason. Yeah. More so than he does 5 moves a match, or I'm just tired of him being Superman.
Well, sometimes it's fun to dislike Cena. I mean, so first time I went to Raw, there were 2 groups of...
the kids.
The kids were amazing.
The kids that sat in front of us, oh dear Lord, I will remember them for the rest of my life. They were adorable.
One of them.
And I don't, I'm not sure if they knew that wrestling was scripted yet.
Yeah.
They were so invested.
They had to have been at least between the ages of 5 and 8.
Yeah.
I think perfect ages. Oh my gosh, perfect ages.
It was during the time when Cena broke his arm or something.
It was...
What year was this?
This was
2011, because Punk was champion during that time.
No, it was 2012 then.
Yeah, you're right.
It was 2012. After WrestleMania.
It was the first night. It was the first night Heyman came back.
Okay. Yeah, it was the night.
Because we were because the thing is, there was a lot of we knew we were gonna miss The Rock because The Rock. It was right after WrestleMania, so I was gonna miss The Rock.
And it was after,
and I was gonna miss Brock Lesnar.
Because Lesnar had stormed off the week before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was I'm missing everybody. That week was amazing. This week I'm gonna get Tensai.
So it was after Extreme Rules. So Cena was, he was pretty beat up from that, and that was when they brought in Tensai, and they had attacked Cena the day before. He had his arm he had him in a cast, and the only time he was on the show was live via satellite. Yeah. So the kids were just
so these kids were just decked out. And they're just there. And so the dark match was Kane versus Cena, and so Cena came out and one arm beat. And it was totally fun because, it was the dark match.
Match, yeah. So the thing was their mom didn't really know what was going on with dark matches. I think she asked me or we were together, and she was so is there really going to be a match? Because some people were talking about so is there really going to be a match? It's usually, so stick around, absolutely. And just the excitement on these kids' faces when Cena came out, it was the most adorable thing. And it was one moment we're not the biggest Cena fans, we get on him sometimes, but in that moment I remember how I felt as a kid whenever Shawn Michaels came out and super kicked someone and won the match. I was so excited, and I was I love that we got to see these kids experience this in person, probably for the first time. Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. And the fact that Cena does that for kids,
so that's great.
I love it.
But there's also there's this group over that way, 4 rows over, and just yelling show ain't even starting to yelling Cena sucks and being annoying and being terrible. Da, 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 da. At the same time, in the same night, there's a group a few things back, and during Cena's satellite thing, so when they're saying Cena's gonna be on, and it's when the "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chant starts going back and forth, and they're chanting Cena sucks, and then I'm chanting "Let's go Cena" at them just to make that part of the cheer louder. Yeah. And so, but I'm cheering at them, I'm yelling at them, they're yelling at me, and we're both having great time. Yeah. And that's fine. I'm and I totally get that, and I hold nothing against you not liking Cena for that. But those other guys who are yelling at kids, and I was that's no.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt about the jerk at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, he had to turn around at
he
you.
started it before the night even started. Like,
right.
we, I want to say it was a bunch of us just sitting there, like, hours before the show even started, and we were talking, and he overheard me say something about, if Rock wins, I'm quitting, or I'm rioting, or I'm gonna, you know, kill myself in MetLife Stadium. Like, I was being so dramatic.
Yeah.
And he turned around and said something to me. Like, he started it, but I finished it, because at the end of the night, I got the last laugh, you cried, and it was hilarious. So, in your face, you can't see me, the champ is here.
Yeah.
We hate the Rock, and I left. Like,
but that Raw that we were there, and this actually was the first time me and you had ever been to a live event, ever. And I'm almost ashamed to say that because it was only in 2012. Like, it really should have been a lot sooner than that.
Yeah, for sure.
I know.
It's like I couldn't drive as a kid.
And
I didn't
our
have
parents weren't necessarily, you know, nurturing of our wrestling.
I mean, I was of perfect age for the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But that was also of perfect age for parents to be like, no, you know, a lot of the...
See, I was too young for the Attitude
I was
Era.
also a preacher's kid, so they were very much like, this is the devil's work. No, you can't.
See, I was so blessed. My dad was my dad's what got me into wrestling.
Yeah.
He's the one that started the company that I worked for 2 years to pretty much launch my career in wrestling. Like, I mean, my dad loves it to this day, so I was blessed. I started, my first live event for WWE was in 2006. And I went every year, until 2013. So I've gone 6 years in a row to when they come to Greensboro, and we've gone to Raleigh a few times and Charlotte a few times. So I think all in all, I've been 10 live events for WWE, and you know, I loved it. So to hear that you guys didn't go into 2012,
I wanted to, and it seemed like they hardly ever went to the Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville.
Well,
whenever I was, like they did whenever
we get all the rest of
like whenever the Coliseum was brand new. Yeah, they went there. But then, you know, they kind of outgrew it at that point, and the Crown's not that big. And so I'm like, okay, they're never going to be here. And then I moved to Greensboro, and I moved here permanently after I graduated, and then, like, that next week, guess where Tribute to the Troops was? Well, they billed it as from Fort Bragg that year, but it was in the Crown Coliseum, where I used to work there at the Crown Coliseum, and I'm like, the entire time, I worked there for 2 years, they never showed up.
Yeah.
Now that I have a job up here and I'm not working at the Crown anymore, now they're there. That's my luck. Yeah. All
right, I think we're all done. It's been a long time.
There's nothing else you want to do?
There's nothing at all that I want to do.
I think there's something else. Don't you think so, Chasity? Don't you?
I don't know.
That's right, it's time for the mail sack. Mail sack, mail sack. Why is there hair in this mail sack? Mail sack, mail sack. Let's all go inside. Mail sack, mail sack. Why is there hair in this mail sack? Mail sack, mail sack. It's all go inside.
Okay.
Alright, so this week we have a special email sent to us to classroomingattire@gmail.com. This one is for Chasity. And it says, Chasity, I am a big fan who has never met you in person, but I've always wanted to get your insight on the following question. Would you say retired wrestling legend Mitch Connor is A, sexy for his age, or B, very sexy for any age? Thanks. This is from an ordinary fan, Ron M. Chintock from High Point, North Carolina. Even though I know who really sent this email, but we don't have to say that right now. Your response.
I think it's funny that last name or full name Ron M. Chintock uses the same letters as Mitch Connor.
The individual that is the subject of the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my options are A, he's sexy for his age, or B, very sexy for any age.
Or thanks, exclamation point, I guess.
Well, it doesn't have a C next to it, so that's
not how
a choice.
multiple choice works. You can't bubble in anything.
You were really bad at standardized tests, weren't you?
Poor thing. Mitch Connor, Lord help him. I don't even know, that's just... We'll go with B. Mitch is very sexy for any age.
I'm trying to find a better anagram for Mitch Connor.
But he pretty much found it.
I know, I was like, Chin Talk, that can't be the best.
Chin Talk's pretty good.
Okay. Next, this comes from BD on the comments board on our wrestling.insidepulse.com post. Of course, this is Blair. This is on the heel of our discussion whenever Joel actually had something nice to say about Sheamus because of how he was used. And it basically he's commenting on how objective you were able to be. So this is what he said. I loved what Joel said about keeping perspective when being constantly critical of a wrestler. When speaking of his dislike of Sheamus and how he enjoyed whatever Sheamus did 2 Monday nights ago, Joel and I both deride Sheamus, but we deride him for very different reasons. And he didn't see that Raw, but... I lost my place.
Just go to the part where it says I'm smart. I like that part.
Whether I agree with his statement or why he dislikes Sheamus isn't the point. He's smart enough, there you go, to be able to acknowledge when a guy does something that he likes, he's able to call attention to it. That's something that should be way more common when discussing the stuff. I dislike Sheamus, but when he had a good match with Orton on SmackDown last year out of nowhere, I called it out. When he had a good match with Bryan last year, I called it out, even though I thought Bryan was the only reason that match was any good. When Henry had his good match with, okay, well, Mark Henry never had a good match, but if he had, I would have called that out too. So, I very much agree with him. Like, I'm glad that we were able to be objective about people that we dislike. And I'm like, I would be the same way, like, if Heath Slater did something good, I would be able to admit, okay, that was good. Like, or John Cena, not the biggest fan of, but whenever he says something that's actually legitimately funny on his promos, or he actually pulls off a move, like, or his match against CM Punk before WrestleMania. Dear Lord, that was an amazing match.
That was an amazing match.
Those two guys have an amazing chemistry, and I can't deny that at all.
WrestleMania 31.
WrestleMania 31.
I'm calling it right now. Here now.
For the WWE Championship, we want to see that.
I'm calling it. That's what it's going to be.
Yep.
Cena versus Punk?
Cena versus Punk for the belt. Make it happen.
I'll go.
That's one where, like, because a lot of WrestleMania recently, like, if there is a flaw in WrestleMania, it is that it's easier to predict the outcome of the matches for storytelling purposes. Undertaker's always, going to win. Undertaker's not going to lose before 20, and then Undertaker's not going to lose before WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
So it's easier to call that out. With The Rock, and it's like, I know how this exact Rock story is going to go. He's going to win it, Rumble, and carry it till Mania, and so with 30, coming out, there's a lot of part-timey stuff. There's a lot of stuff where it's like, I can see how that match is going to go. I see there's a lot of torches to be passed here.
It basically got to the point now, and it's something that we do every year. Pretty much the day after WrestleMania, let's just say WrestleMania 29, pretty much the day after, the podcast after, we go ahead and predict what's going to happen to WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
And then, then the next year we compare and see how wrong we were. We were way off last year.
We're so off. It's amazing.
Yeah, I had thought Colt Cabana was going to come back by now.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to come back at Extreme Rules since it was at Chicago, and he was going to come back and he's going to attack Chris Jericho and team up with Punk, and I'm like, yeah, make it happen. No,
it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I thought John Morrison was going to be champion.
He has a big thing for John Morrison. I have a big thing for Chris Masters, and they both got released around the same time. So we bring them up every now and then. And he always holds it over my head that of either of them, John Morrison is probably more likely to come back because he's still in very good graces with everyone.
Yeah, he left on better terms than Chris Masters did.
Chris Masters is doing perfectly fine on the Indies.
Right now. And I'm really glad that he kind of found his way on the Indies, like, because I was really disappointed when he, like, I was a big fan of his when he came back because he came back with a renewed energy and just a better mind for the business essentially, and it showed every week on Superstars.
Yeah,
sadly, and the only time they used him on Raw is whenever he did the little peck pop.
Yeah, the peck pop, or when they had to empty the locker room.
Or empty the locker room. It's like, oh yeah, hey.
He always got to run out. And like, I see him.
So there's that.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
Yep, that's it for me.
You have things you'd like to plug?
Go for it.
Yes, follow me on Twitter at Chasity Taylor with an extra R, so it's ChacityTaylorr. And check out my newly launched website, chacitytaylor.com.
All right.
Cool.
And for our standard plugs, as always, you can follow us on Twitter at CRAttire, where we will live tweet every Mondays and appropriate Sundays when we can.
And when I get bored on my weekend job.
Yes. Live tweet your weekend job?
Well, on my personal account I do, but anytime I've gotten into this habit of watching SmackDown on Sunday at my work, and so I'll talk about SmackDown stuff.
Employee of the year, everyone.
They know how boring that job is. They have a lot of downtime, especially on Sundays. They know that. I've written so much of my script at that job. I should almost give them a cut. Not gonna happen. If you have any questions or comments, anything you want us to bring up on the show, fill up that mail sack. Let's see how. We still don't know how full it can get, and it's something that I really want to find out. So there you go. Send it to our email. That's classyringattire@gmail.com.
Don't forget, we are also on iTunes, so look us up there. You can leave a review. You can leave a rating of 5 stars. That's 5 stars for those who don't speak falsetto.
It was beautiful. Shut up. And if you're listening to us on wrestling.insidepulse.com, leave us a comment on there. We'd love to hear from you. And while you're there, make sure you check out all the great columns on there. I'll have something on there. I don't know what it is yet because I just found out that SummerSlam isn't this Sunday. So I will have to magically come up with something. And I'll probably...
Is it going to be called If SummerSlam Was This Sunday?
Probably. And then, of course, as I started something last weekend, or I actually give my full recap of Total Divas. So... There's that.
Yeah, the Diva Cat continues.
It seemed like all 2 of you really liked it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go to wrestling.insidepulse.com for all the great stuff.
Until next time, stay classy and huzzah.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!